BC Place. It's Australia versus Turkey on SEN's coverage of the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Yes, wherever you're listening around Australia or overseas, the warmest of welcomes to Vancouver in the Canadian state of British Columbia for Australia's opening game of this FIFA World Cup 2026 in Group D against Turkey, or Turkey as it's now officially known. 4 years ago in Qatar, of course, the Socceroos surprised the nation by reaching the round of 16 and went close to shocking the world by running eventual champions Argentina close in Doha. Tonight they will again be cast in the role of underdogs against a Turkish outfit that contains some world-class talents. But opening games can be tense affairs, and the Socceroos have some very good emerging stars of their own. I'm Simon Hill, and alongside Andy Harper, we're going to be bringing you all the action from BC Place here in Vancouver, which is packed to the rafters. The roof is closed. The noise is terrific, Andy Harper. Good to be back alongside you again, my old mate.
Yeah.
And you, like me, have been working a tour at this World Cup.
Yes, we have, Simon. And whatever it takes to get to a World Cup, listeners through SEN, put this on your bucket list. There is nothing like a World Cup of football. This thing's about to go off. The noise in here is incredible. The noise in the streets in Vancouver approaching the stadium all day. It's just been incredible, and I don't think this game is going to disappoint. I'm here, care of Premium Sports Tours, Simon. They're a mob that come out of Melbourne. They do some great sports tours, some coming up, including the Melbourne Cup, the Australian Open, Indian cricket tours, and the NRL. That's a big one, the NRL in Vegas. I'm doing a few other things as well. Crossing back to my main employment, Paramount Plus and Channel 10. They'll be doing a World Cup show every week. 2 or 3 things other besides you as well. It's great to see you. I didn't think we'd have this opportunity again.
No, we've done so many
blessed.
big games.
I feel very blessed.
Many big games we've been privileged to do, Andy, but never at a World Cup before. But that's about to change. I've been on the Green and Gold Army Tour, of course, with 500 mad Socceroos fans. We've had a pre-game event with Craig Moore, who, of course, played in 2 World Cups and scored in the 2006 edition against Croatia. And the noise levels, as you can hear around us, have just gone literally through the roof at this venue. You can hardly hear yourself think. This venue that was the host of the 2010 Winter Olympics, the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup. It's the home to the Vancouver Whitecaps, which is a club that has an Australian employed by them at the moment. Or for them, I should say, and Giuseppe Bovolina, formerly of Adelaide United. We will give you the official teams in just a moment as we wait for the teams to come out of the tunnel. But Harps, we must talk about Tony Popovic's lineup. You've heard it in the preview show with Brenton Speed and his 2 Matilda's guests, Grace Gill and Charlie Grant. But it really has been a surprise to see the 11 he's gone with this evening.
Really, Simon, really. On the eve or the cusp of such a massive game, are so many bombs dropped from the coach. It's quite remarkable. The Matt Ryan one, well, there was a whisper about Matt Ryan, so we're less than honest if we said we were surprised by that news being delivered. Surprised by the fact that he's in that position in the first place. But, you know, to have Jackson Irvine as well, he's been such a stalwart for the team. In Ryan and Irvine, that's captain and vice-captain. In what's ostensibly a pretty young team across the field, you've cut out 2 of your most experienced players, and Matt Leckie, the 3rd in that group, doesn't get a start either. They're really big considerations.
Yep, Lucas Harrington, who has played some of the warm-up games, might have been expected to start as well, but he too has been left on the bench. We'll confirm the full starting 11s for both Australia and Turkey after the national anthems. At the moment, the lights have just dipped momentarily in the arena as we await the flag bearers. And what do you make, Harps, of this new FIFA initiative that not just the 2 starting 11s walk out to line up and hear the national anthem, but the entire squads form a semicircle around the centre circle?
Do you know, Simon, there's a lot of things that have changed in this World Cup that have got a lot of people pretty unhappy. But on this one, I think everyone should be involved. This is a lifetime dream for any player, whether it's a Women's World Cup or a Men's World Cup. and to be included in all these things. I think it's actually one of the good things that's happened. Just adds to the occasion. I mean, the match day presentation is really sensational.
Well, we just got a glimpse on our monitor of Connor Metcalf, who's looking rather stony-faced. He doesn't tend to get too flustered by many things, and I know he was irritated by the noise that has come out of the United States. There's been a bit of noise from Turkey as well, Harp, saying that they don't really rate Australia. They expect to dominate. They expect to win this game. Does that play into Socceroos' hands today?
I think it might do. Look, I don't think there's any point in us doubting the experience differential, the quality differential between the two teams, where some of these Turkey players are doing their club football compared to where the Aussies are. The thing about the Aussie team is there's 3 or 4 in that, well, Harrington's not playing, he's 18, but 20, 21, 22, good World Cups here, and they could be launched into those top 5 leagues, which on its own will turn the fortunes of the Socceroos. But for the here and now, I think it would be foolish of us not to think that Tony Popovic has included that in the pre-game, and it was probably his parting words to the opponents, to his team in facing Turkey, who are looking down their nose. I'm not ashamed to say. That's how I've interpreted it. They're looking down their nose at the Socceroos' chances, and that's exactly how the Socceroos would like it, you think.
Well, the noise level started to build once again around BC Place. The 2 national flags, almost covering the entire halves of the field, have been laid out with the big globe in the middle with the FIFA World Cup logo. And here come the 2 teams. Harry Souttar becoming the 6th man to lead out the Socceroos at a World Cup finals, joining Matt Ryan, Miller Jedinak, Lucas Neal, Mark Maduka, and the great Peter Wilson all the way back in 1974. And as mentioned, that new FIFA directive means that all 26 players are now walking onto the field from both teams to sample the atmosphere and to sing their national anthems. One of several rule changes brought in by the governing body FIFA for this World Cup. We've also seen a tightening up on time wasting, which, to be fair, Andy, I'm all for as well.
No question about that. I think that, you know, it's not all doom and gloom with the changes that FIFA and IFAB have looked to make. Some very controversial. The drinks breaks, of course, is one that lingers. It's the quarterisation of association football as we're watching it evolve. But 2 or 3 of these other things, this included presenting both squads in their entirety to stand around the centre circle looking across at their opponents, but linking, metaphorically at least, through the national anthems with the rest of the squad. I like it. It's great. The pitch, Simon, just looks incredible.
Well, let's hope the Socceroos can play incredibly on it. The 2 teams have now lined up either side of the centre circle, and we are about to take a pause for the national anthems of Australia and of Turkey.
Now please rise if you're able for the playing of the national anthem of Australia.
Veuillez vous lever si vous pouvez pour l'hymne national de l'Australie.
Please remain standing if you're able for the playing of the national anthem of Turkey.
Maintenant, veuillez rester debout si vous le pouvez pour l'hymne national de la Turquie.
the two national anthems lustily sung by a capacity crowd here at BC Place. In terms of the team news, if you are just tuning in, Tony Popovic has sprung a huge surprise in his chosen 11, benching both his captain Matt Ryan and his vice-captain Jackson Irvine, handing World Cup debuts to Melbourne City's Patrick Beach in goal and Sydney FC's Paul Ocon-Engsler, who's a little bit teary during the anthem. Cam Burgess is preferred to Lucas Harrington in defence. Nestor Irankunda starts. The full 11, it's Beach in goal, a back three of Chakati Suta, the captain, and Cam Burgess. Jacob Italiano and Geordie Boss, the two wing-backs. Aidan O'Neill and Paul Ocon-Engsler in midfield. Nestor Irankunda and Connor Metcalf will play in support of Mohamed Toure up front. Andy, your thoughts on the 11?
Yeah, seismic decisions by Tony Popovic, and the wave, the shock and awe that's gone around the Socceroos fans as they're trying to process the team news. It's huge. And some bombs have gone off more than others. The Matt Ryan-Jackson Irvine combination is huge. On the first game, such an important stage to hack so much experience out of your starting 11 is a test that now the team that's been picked has to pass. And there's no reason to think they can't or won't pass that test, but it does leave that sort of Damocles hanging over things, doesn't it?
As for Turkey, their main man, Kenan Yildiz, has been struggling with injury and is left on the bench. But their other injury concerns have all been past fit. Çalhanoğlu of Inter, Ferdi Kadiolo of Brighton and Hove Albion, and Arda Güler of Real Madrid. Their full 11 in goal is Urcan Çakir, a back four of Zeki Çelik, Maria Demiral, Abdul Karim Bardakci, and Ferdi Kadiolo. In midfield, it's Ismail Yüksek and Hakan Çalhanoğlu, the captain. Orkun Koçu will play on the right-hand side. Arda Güler, the number 10. Barış Yilmaz on the left. And Kerem Aktürkoğlu will play as the lone striker. He's not a natural number 9. And Turkey's weakness, if there is one, we're told is possibly in defence, where they may lack a little bit of agility.
Yeah, and certainly set pieces. They're really worried about Australia with set pieces. Harry Suter captaining, proud moment for Harry, by the way, playing for the Socceroos because his mum's from Port Hedland on the west coast of Western Australia. Here he is leading out the country of his adoption into World Cup battle. He stands at 2 metres tall, and what Aktürkoğlu brings is a little bit more height. Maybe that's to diffuse some of the height advantage that the Socceroos will have from free kicks and corners. Cam Burgess, another guy from Perth, who's no shrinking violet. Chirkati, the third of the back three, out of Perth, plays for Parma. He stands at 6'3" as well. 3 very strong players in the air. So you would imagine that part of the thinking from Turkey with the selection of Aktürkoğlu is to bring in a little bit of extra height to see off some of this Australian danger.
Well, the two teams go into their pre-match huddles either side of the halfway line. Our referee today, by the way, is Jesus Valenzuela, 42-year-old from Venezuela. Tatiana Guzman is in VAR from Nicaragua, assisted by Juan Soto of Venezuela and Fu Ming of the Chinese People Republic. So we're just about done with all the pre-match pleasantries. The noise levels rise again, once again, around this wonderful venue. Australia playing in their usual green and gold, Turkey all in red. Australia are going to kick us off. And the expectations, as ever, high amongst the Socceroos faithful, who travelled here in huge numbers. 10,000 of them in the stands here this evening. Mohamed Toure gets Australia's 7th World Cup finals campaign underway. A very even group on paper, with the United States and Paraguay to come. Can they get off to a good start today? They're looking to go on the attack right from the off, deep inside the Turkish half of the field, but it's going to go out for a Turkey throw in. Andy Harper.
Yeah, Australia playing for territory early. Pretty standard nowadays in football. The long ball, try and win the second effort up front and then keep your opponents pressed into their own defensive area as they look to play out. Turkey with the free kick now, just approaching halfway. So Australia's early bluster, a little bit of an opening there for Jacob Italiano, but Turkey have seen away the initial thrust.
This first half on SEN for Valvoline, the original engine oil and official supporter of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Turkey are in possession just inside their own half, to the left of the centre circle, with their captain Hakan Çalhanoğlu plays it back towards Maria Demiral, and they will inch forward towards halfway. Sometimes opening matches, Andy, can be a little bit cagey, particularly in the first 10 or 15 minutes.
I think that's certainly the case. That's our experience. But the way, a part of the selection for the Socceroos, I think, is to bring that extra bit of youth and energy to really try and pin Turkey down. They've managed to win some nice possession. Connor Metcalf breaking down the right-hand side.
And he's managed to shake off Çalhanoğlu, and it was an awkward cross to deal with. But deal with it Turkey did for the moment, and they've got it away to safety, but only as far as Cercati. Now Jacob Italiano on the right, looking to cross into the penalty area, and it did drop kindly for Nestor Iancundo, who gets a second bite at the cherry. But eventually Turkey sorted out and will now look to launch a counter of their own. You can hear the roar in the throats of thousands of Turkish supporters who you had the pleasure, I think it was the pleasure, Andy, of accompanying on your way into the stadium.
Well, it was certainly a sight, catching the Sky Train into the stadium. The street march for the Turkish fans went for 3 blocks. Listen to them as well. I think they're winning the singing competition at the moment as well, the Turkey fans. But things ramp up when their number 8, Arda Güler, gets the ball, the young star from Real Madrid.
Well, here he is on the ball just as you speak, and Australia with a little bit of miscommunication there. Nobody tracked that ball, and Güler was able to run onto it unchecked. Australia have regrouped their shape now, but the ball is with Kökçü on the edge of the Australian penalty area, now with Kadioğlu, and the shot from Hakan Çalhanoğlu is deflected behind, and the game's first corner belongs to Turkey, Andy Harper.
And the Popperdome, as it's referred to, is unbreached. Standing strong and tall, and in their collection around the penalty area, Turkey stringing some passes together. It does depend a lot, the Turkey cause, on Arda Güler, the young 21-year-old. He is such a superstar. It is a blessing for Australia that he comes in at least a little less than 100% fit, but still a wonderful player. He set up that attack, the result of which is this corner now for Turkey.
Maybe the first test about to arrive for Patrick Beach. Çalhanoğlu's corner, and that came off an Australian head again. In fact, I think there was a clash of heads involving Cam Burgess and one of the Turkey players, and a bit of blood coming from the mouth of Cam Burgess, which may need some attention, Andy.
Yeah, well,
I think it was actually a friendly fire, was it? The arm of Harry Suter that caught him.
Yeah, I think it was. Here's the reprise corner for Turkey.
Çalhanoğlu again from the near side of the stadium as we sit. Australia deal with the first phase, but it's still not completely away. This is Kadioğlu. Still plenty forward in this attack for Turkey. And eventually it glances off the head of Jacob Italiano, and out for a throw.
Setting for a longer throw. Just the last time Australia had the ball up around Turkey's penalty area, the ball falls to Nestor Iancundo, and 10,000 Aussies in the stadium were expecting him to shoot.
This is Arda Güler, a little magician from Real Madrid, but he's hustled out of it brilliantly by Mohamed Touré. That's what you call defending from the front, Andy. And Patrick Beach has passed his first test as well, getting the ball away from danger under pressure, albeit it's sprayed out for a throw-in for the Turks.
Yeah, there's an opportunity there for Australia to break away. It was in the strength, the category Mo Touré versus Arda Güler. Mo Touré is going to win. Knocked him off the ball nicely, and there was a half opportunity for Australia to counter-attack.
This is Ferdi Kadioğlu, who's had such a good season for Brighton and Hove Albion. Won their Player of the Year award as they qualified for Europe. Not too often that they do that. The club very much on the rise, as is the Turkish national team, back in the World Cup after a 24-year absence. We all remember the last team that played for them at the World Cup in 2002, because they reached the semi-finals, finished third on that particular occasion.
Yeah, Turkey are one of that group of nations you'd have to say are the great underachievers. The passion for football in that place is unbelievable. It hasn't translated into international success.
Turned back by Zeki Çelik. They're about midway inside the Australian half of the field. Now they look to accelerate into the penalty area. Cam Burgess providing cover at the expense of a throw.
Yeah, it was a nice exchange from Turkey, but again, Australia's defence well coordinated. Cam Burgess clearing without trouble.
Nearly 6 minutes played. Our clock for Valvoline, the original engine oil. It's Australia 0, Turkey 0 in this FIFA World Cup 2026 Group D opener on SEN. Simon Hill and Andy Harper with you in commentary, as we will be for all three of Australia's group games. And at the moment, Australia are pinned back into their own defensive third with Çalhanoğlu in possession. And he gets the return ball from Zeki Çelik, the Roma defender. Lovely little dummy by Goulart. He's looking to steer it into that top corner. He's not been successful on that occasion, Andy, but that's a little glimpse of this young man's talent.
Well, it was the awareness to let the ball go, let it through his legs. He continued his run, and the first time pass put Goulart in front of goal. It was Ocon Hengsler who got sucked in to that dummy from the Real Madrid maestro. But then he couldn't. From a reasonable angle from him, he scored plenty of goals from exactly that part of the field, just on his left foot, to the right of the goalpost, outside the penalty area.
Here's Conor Metcalfe down the other end, with the Australians up out of their seats. Mo Toure looking to find the angle for the cross. In the end, he does get a touch off Abdul Karim Bardakci, and Australia have their first corner, which brings the roar to the throats of the Socceroos fans.
And here's the threat for Turkey. That have identified it pre-game. It's the part of Australia's game that makes them most nervous, and Conor Metcalfe doing so well to win the corner. He started very positively.
Well, he won the corner, and he is going to take the corner, Conor Metcalfe. Sutar looking to make his run at the back post. It's gone all the way through to the goalkeeper, Gurcan Çakır, who makes a safe gather and sets Turkey on their way. A bit of a disappointing set piece for Australia. Now they've got to regroup quickly. It's Zeki Çelik on the ball. Cam Burgess trying to stay with him. Yeah, there's a little bit of contact. Turkey are claiming a shove by the big Australian defender, who's still got blood coming out of that cut in his mouth that he suffered from the previous Turkish corner, but there is no free kick, Andy Harper.
And disappointing for Australia. The corner was set for them. It was a poor corner from Conor Metcalfe, and Turkey broke really quickly, and it ended up with Çelik in a foot race. And Cam Burgess just marshalled him expertly. Really calm play.
We just got a shot of Vincenzo Montella, the coach of the Turkish national team, known during his playing days as the little aeroplane. And he's become very popular in Turkey after leading them back to the World Cup finals. Actually played at a World Cup finals for Italy, who are again missing for the third time running in the World Cup finals. Crazy story.
This World Cup has started 3 days in. You still can't believe Italy aren't here. And still the butt of a lot of football jokes. Very painful one for Italian fans. But Turkey know the feeling of missing out on recent World Cups. Australia not so. It's their 6th consecutive appearance at the World Cup finals. And they've started well here, the Socceroos.
9 minutes played on the Valvoline scoreboard, the original engine oil and official supporter of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. It is Australia 0, Turkey 0. And just that one sort of half chance, really, for Arda Güler, which came after 6 minutes, which a player of his abilities, as Andy Harper rightly points out, you probably expect to at least work the goalkeeper, but he was unable to do so. And Australia back in their defensive shape with Turkey in possession just inside their own half of the field. Sent forward by Bardakci and worked wide by Orkun Kökçü. And Turkey enjoying another little spell of possession. Australia happy to sit in their defensive shape. It's sort of the pattern we expected, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, the pattern that we want the Socceroos to break here in this game one of their World Cup campaign is to have a decent first half, because they've set a repeated pattern of poor first halves.
And that ball into the penalty area drifts harmlessly behind for a goal kick.
But so far, so good. And they'll push forward with numbers when they get the chance, but otherwise the formation will be very compact, and they won't drop immediately back into their penalty area equally. And they're not going to be chasing shadows around the pitch and allow Turkey to isolate players, move the ball without any pressure on them.
Loose ball gets away from Conor Metcalfe, and Güler once again has the ball on a string. Less so his teammate, who left that pass a little bit short of Orkun Kökçü, but Turkey comfortably back in control of the football. midway inside their own half. They work it out wide left to Ferdi Kadiolu. And he looks for that little threaded ball to find Aktokolu. And he just had too many bodies in the way. And Australia, by and large, so far, Andy, have looked reasonably comfortable.
Yeah, untroubled. This is the phase of play now. When they first get possession to keep a couple of good touches, Jordy Boss has lost that one again, but it's broken fortuitously.
And there is room on the right for Jacob Italiano if they can move it out quickly enough. They do eventually find the defender who's playing in Austria for Graza AK, but needed to be a little bit quicker in transition. But Italiano's looking to steal him behind. Oh, and the cross is overcooked by quite some distance, with Irankunda and Toure drawn towards the near and far post. They'll get a second bite at it. Does come off the head of Mo Toure. Connor Metcalf trying to get a piece of it. Turkey clear their lines. And now steadied down, momentarily at least, by Arda Güler. But Australia win the ball back high up the pitch.
Two brilliant opportunities for Australia, but nothing meaningful with the cross. Italiano, a great run and ball that found him. His cross was a poor one. And then Jordy Boss couldn't get the ball in once he'd retrieved it from the far touchline. But Australia settling again.
Well, whenever you hear boos on our coverage, you'll know that that's good news for Australia, because they're in possession. The boos from the Turkish fans, and they're having to scramble back now, the Socceroos, because Çalhanoğlu has got the ball. They've got every single outfield player and the goalkeeper, of course, now behind the football, Australia. Turkey just content to play a bit of keep ball and try and move them around. Arda Güler goes central, gets the return ball from his teammate. Wide left is Kadiolu. Australia have never actually beaten Turkey. They've only played each other twice. Both friendlies back in 2004, both in Australia. And both ended in wins for Turkey. This is Barış Yılmaz looking to get it across, but he was off balance. The cross falls over the top of the goal, and it's a Socceroos goal kick.
Well, Turkey, for all their very promising pieces of possession and territory, the crossing has been poor as well, delivery into the box.
Australia's record on match day 1 of the World Cup doesn't necessarily make for great reading, Andy. One win, which was against Japan back in 2006. We all remember that one. And 5 defeats 4 years ago. Of course, it was a 4-1 loss to France after Craig Goodwin had given the Socceroos an early advantage. And they are looking to spring the offside trap here.
Look at Jordy Boss go.
Goodness me. Look at him go. Jordy Boss thought for a moment he might have won a corner, but that was pretty impressive pace he showed across the floor, but in the end he got the final touch, and it's a goal kick.
Well, he burnt the newly laid grass. This is the first football match played on this new turf. It's normally synthetic grass for MLS and the Canadian Football League, where the BC Lions play. But it's been ripped up and laid beautifully as well. It looks magnificent. And Australia and Turkey treated to the maiden run. And didn't Jordy Boss run then? Geez, he can move. The flyer from Hopper's Crossing.
He's had quite the season for Feyenoord in the Dutch Eredivisie. 36 games, 4 goals, but 9 assists from left fullback. Although, of course, he occasionally does play a little bit further forward than that. Jacob Italiano steering the ball all the way back to Patrick Beach, who as yet has been untested, and referees are going to bring them all the way back for an offside against Barış Yılmaz. Tony Popovic, who we've just seen on our monitor here, has just signed a new contract, of course, with the Socceroos to take them through to the end of the Asian Cup in 2027. Interesting time to make that announcement, Andy, just before the World Cup started.
Yeah, the timing was remarkable, really. It's done now. I can't really remember in all the World Cups we've watched an announcement like that being made, or Australia or any other country, but it's sorted now.
Launch forward, and Mo Toure is onto this one. He's level with the Turkish penalty area, waiting for support to arrive, and he couldn't get past the defender. Maria Demiral. It is going to be a corner, though, for Australia. Debadal protesting that it should have been a goal kick. And that might have led to something a bit more meaningful, that, for Australia.
Well, this is Mo Toure in open space. He haired after that ball. He just perhaps lacked a little bit of a trick to get past Demiral, who stood his ground. But Australia have got their second corner now. The first one from Metcalf was poor. Any improvement on that will be a bonus for Australia. And Harry Souttar is beseeching Connor Metcalf to drop it on the spot, Connor, and let me murder the thing.
Where's Craig Goodwin when you need him? And Connor Metcalf can deliver with the left peg as well. And again, he's gone a little bit close to the goalkeeper, who was none too convincing. And I think the final touch might have even come off Souttar. And it's behind for a goal kick. But the goalkeeper didn't look too comfortable here, Andy.
Well, no. And
he did get a little bump, to be fair, on the way through.
Exactly. So the ball goes in from a goal. VAR might have adjudged that contact to have been too much. But 2 corners for Australia. It should be a big advantage for them. And both have been a bit flat.
Goal kick's going to have to be retaken. Referee Jesus Valenzuela not happy with something. And goalkeeper Urjan Çakır, 30 years of age, from Galatasaray. Had 12 years with Trabzonspor before the switch last season, as Çakır commits a foul and then protects the ball, which drew the wrath of the referee as Turkey looked to take a quick set piece. And you've got to be careful with those, Andy. You can easily end up with a yellow card.
You can, and it depends. FIFA have allowed this sort of stuff to creep in. If you get a cranky ref, you can get a yellow card for delaying the restart. Some are a lot more patient.
Well, so far the pre-game comments of Hakan Çalhanoğlu have been largely correct, that they have dominated the game in terms of possession. No real chances apart from that half opportunity for Arda Güler. Might be one brewing here though. It's fired over the top from the edge of the box by Ferdi Kadiolu. Yeah, and again, Patrick Beach not called into action, Andy.
Another shooting opportunity for Turkey. And Australia's defence is well organised. The spacing between the players is very good. And time to shoot, but not the technique to deliver. Another one comes and another one goes for Turkey. Australia getting stronger as the game goes on.
Patrick Beach restarts play with a long launch forward, but straight onto the head of Kadiolu. Return with interest by Aidan O'Neill, and Mohamed Toure's got away from his marker for a moment. Gets to the byline and then the feet got in a little bit of a tangle. And it comes off the standing leg and goes behind for a goal kick. Toure rather cheekily claiming a corner.
Well, the good and the bad of that is that Bardakci now, the left stopper, left central defender for Turkey, knows he's got his hands full with Toure in a foot race. He showed great strength and athleticism. He just lacked the finishing moment there.
Yeah, Mo Toure has had such a great spell since arriving at Norwich City. 10 goals and 3 assists to boot in 12 appearances in the English Championship. Last scored for Australia in the Soccer Ashes series against New Zealand in September of last year. Got both goals, both his international goals in that particular contest. And he's the man leading the line for the Socceroos this evening. They're not going to get many opportunities, Andy, but when they do get one, you hope they've got the quality to take it.
Well, they're showing great composure at the moment. They haven't enjoyed much possession, but they're working through the lines now as Australia breaks over halfway. Okan Ensler with a really cheap giveaway. And they're the moments that change games potentially. Irankunda was free. Okan Ensler found the defender between he and his Socceroos teammate, when a completed pass to Nestori was certainly on the cards.
20 minutes played in Vancouver. The clock for Valvoline, the original engine oil. It is Australia 0, Turkey 0. You're tuned to the 2026 FIFA World Cup game between Australia and Turkey, live on SEN. Myself, Simon Hill, and Andy Harper will be your commentary team for the 3 Australian games in Group D. And I guess if you're Tony Popovic, Andy, you're probably thinking, well, so far so good.
Well, again, just to bring up the theme, the repeated one of Australia under Popovic having poor first halves and good second halves. Well, they've broken that pattern. They've been very solid. They need to be a little bit better in possession and make the most of the chances that come. But their defence has really blunted Turkey. Have had good possession. Socceroos opponents today, but they've not really threatened Patrick Beach in Australia's goal so far.
And another attempted threaded ball through is cut out by Jacob Italiano, who has made a good start on his World Cup debut. Had something of a breakthrough season in Austria. And so far, at least, it looks as though he's the answer to that problematic position on the right-hand side of the Socceroos' defence.
Well, it's one part of the Socceroos 11 which is probably the most contested. Lewis Miller, of course. All things considered, you would have expected to have been selected. The Blackburn Rovers player, but he ruptured his Achilles, which opened the door for Jacob Italiano.
Talking of contests, Mo Toure brought to ground, Australia free kick, but that is the signal for the drinks break with Drinkwise, drinks break sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster for all the goals, for all the corners, for all the passes, for the underdogs, for the champions, for the all-conquering moments, for the watch parties you might be attending during the tournament, maybe at home, maybe at the pub, maybe at the club. The Cup only comes around every 4 years. You want to experience and remember those moments, cheering with family, friends and other fans, celebrating together as one, celebrating at the right pace and looking after yourself while you do it. So if you're choosing to have a drink, make sure it's in moderation. Remember, you won't miss a moment if you drink wise. Drinkwise, drink break sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster. And Andy, while the players have a breather, you can give us your summary of the opening 20 minutes or so.
In general, Simon, I think the game's followed a pattern that was expected. I'm pleased at the end of the first quarter. Do we officially call it that now?
It feels like it, doesn't it?
It does feel like it. I think Tony Popovic will be very buoyed that the output has been excellent from the Socceroos. They've had trouble in first halves of matches, and they're not waiting till the half-time spray from Tony Popovic to correct things. They've been very, very solid. They need to be a little better in possession. And one or two passes when they've been settled, which really could have turned the screws for Australia when came unstuck, which is a frustration, I'm sure. Correctable, most certainly. The young guys have done well since they've come in. You know, all the talk, and there was a lot. We were part of it. The huge selection shocks have, you wouldn't say the decisions have been vindicated yet. There's been nothing really on the edge to go one way or the other. But the guys who've got the nod, Paul Oakon-Engstler in midfield for Jackson Irvine, doing very, very well.
Well, football's version of the seventh inning stretch is out of the way. And the coaches have had their say. And Tony Popovic, I mean, we can't hear what he's saying, obviously, from this vantage point high in the stands at this wonderful venue, Andy, but seemed to be perhaps making that point quite stridently that possession's got to be a little bit better, the passing's got to be a little bit cleaner.
And interestingly, in the time they had, Simon, Tony Popovic spent most of his time one-on-one with Mo Toure. And I think that's to encourage Mo's attacking play, but also as he's dropping to get the second ball and to make sure that the Turkish captain, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, doesn't run the show. And he needs that pressure from his blind side to come from Mo Toure and maybe knock him off the ball, pinch a little bit of possession. That was really interesting. All the other players were left to the rest of the coaching staff to sort through this and that, but it was Mo Toure who got the special treatment from Tony Popovic, who I think will be very satisfied with the opening period here.
Well, we're about to resume with the free kick that Mo Toure won. The foul by Ismail Yüksek just inside the Australian half of the field. Harry Souttar going cross-field towards Jordy Boss on the left. This is Oakon-Engstler, who springs clear of his marker and turns it back towards his central midfield partner, Aidan O'Neill. What are you made of Paul Oakon-Engstler's World Cup debut so far, Andy?
I think he's done well, but all the players have been able to settle because the collective has worked very strongly. A couple of errors, Connor Metcalf and then Harry Souttar now invite Turkey.
Yeah, it wasn't the best clearance by Souttar, and Turkey are back on the attack on the left-hand side with Barış Yılmaz He's given the ball back by Guardiola, trying to find the angle for the shot, or the cross rather, and the shot eventually does come in from Arda Güler. And he caught it quite sweetly with his less favoured right peg, and it was straight at Patrick Beach, and the Socceroos fans breathe a big sigh of relief, and now they spring into the attack. It's Nestor Irankunda! He's done it! What a goal from one end of the pitch to the other! Nestor Irankunda, you star! The world knows what we've known for a long time now. And when the ball was launched over the top, Irankunda's pace and purpose took him clear of the defender. And his finish was clinical. And from one end of the pitch to the other, Australia lead Turkey by a goal to nil.
Just incredible here in Vancouver. Arda Güler with the shot on goal. Patrick Beach with really quiet and soft hands just diffuses it and relaunches the attack. And once Irankunda has got that ball and knocked it inside the penalty area onto his right foot, there is not a person on God's earth who's going to stop him from there. He is made of TNT. Look at that goal, just beautiful from Nestor Irankunda. Out of Adelaide, born in a refugee camp, could have played for Burundi, but here he is for the Socceroos.
Well, he is the green and gold X Factor. And in truth, Andy, he's barely been in the game up until that moment, but that's what the big players do on the biggest stage. And credit to Paul Okon-Engsler, because that was a lovely ball over the top to send him racing clear.
Well, the three youngsters combined. Patrick Beach with the save. Instead of standing up and taking a chill, he got the game going straight away. It falls then to the other youngster, Paul Okon-Engsler. Beautiful ball over the top. And we will be watching that Nestor Irankunda moment for many, many years. The power in the kid is incredible, and there was nothing. A Pride Alliance wasn't going to stop him from getting to that ball and slotting in the opening goal of Australia's 2026 World Cup Finals campaign.
Well, Turkey now have a problem that perhaps they didn't expect. They were full of boasts in the pre-game, Andy, about how they were going to dominate this game. Well, it's one thing dominating possession, but you still have to work the goalkeepers. And Australia have struck first, as they did in Qatar 4 years ago on match day one against France. Now, that did not end well. But Turkey, with respect to them, are not of the level of France. And they could be it again here. The goalkeeper's come a long way out of his penalty. A good clearance by Çakır, in fairness, with Irankunda bearing down on him. High-octane stuff by the Socceroos. They've got to focus defensively, though. Italiano's got caught out. This is Guardiola, has support from Yilmaz on the left-hand side, but there's nobody in the penalty area, strangely, for Turkey. That lack of a number 9 could hurt them, perhaps. Güler is then held up by Cameron Burgess. The Socceroos have got the bit between the teeth here, but they've got to focus. Good clearing header by Sutar. Out it comes. Oh, that's a great hit. It's off the woodwork. Goodness me, Abdul Karim Bardakci. And the post is still reverberating, I think.
Incredible hit. Beach beaten, and the post saving Australia.
Wow, that was some hit by the central defender, and another long-range effort. This one more wayward by the captain, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, and the Australians survive, but only just, Andy Harper.
He did not muck around with this one. Bardakci.
Actually, I think Beach might have got a touch on this. Let's have another look.
Yeah. He got a fingernail to it. Well, the game has gone the way Australia would have planned it. Quite remarkable. Toure or Irankunda on the break. Catch us if you can stuff. And Turkey couldn't catch Nestori. But they're a champion team. They've got great players. They've already rebalanced Turkey.
Half an hour played in Vancouver. The clock for Valvoline, the original engine oil. It's Australia 1, Turkey 0. You're listening to live coverage of this Group D encounter on SEN Radio with Simon Hill and Andy Harper. Nestor Irankunda is the name on everybody's lips, wearing green and gold around this spectacular venue in British Columbia. But Australia know that they're still a long way from home, and they've got more defending to do here. Turkey have the ball on the right-hand side, slipped into the penalty area, and easily seen away by Aidan O'Neill for the Socceroos. Out for a Turkey throw, which they take quickly. We just had a quick shot of Vincenzo Montella, who is stony-faced in the Turkey technical zone.
Well, how good are the Socceroos going to be at just strangling the opportunities? Now, defending in huge numbers. The spacing between the players is the key. They're really well organised. They've really, from all their possession, Turkey have just had the one telling effort on goal, which was Bardakci. Australia have pinched and scrapped when they've needed to. They've been strong in the centre of defence, basically. And the two African Australians out of Adelaide on the counter-attack are proving real handsful. Mo Toure, Nestori Irankunda.
And Nestori Irankunda with his 6th international goal and just his 16th cap. Scored twice against Curacao, of course, in the March window, and won the FIFA Series Player of the Tournament. He's struck again here on the big stage tonight. Australia have given away another free kick just inside their own half of the field. The foul by Harry Sutar. Turkey back in this familiar pattern of possession. Australia in their defensive shape with everybody behind the ball, looking to absorb the pressure and then hit Turkey on the counter, which they did to such great effect for the opening goal, which came after 27 minutes. This is Ferdi Kadiolu, though, for the Turks. Out on the left is Barış Yilmaz, almost level with the Australian penalty area. The cross is a poor one. It's volleyed away, thumped upfield by Nestori Irankunda.
He was 70 metres from goal. Please tell me he wasn't shooting.
Well, you never know.
You never know.
Given his talents.
No, that was him taking a breather. He's a little bit gassed. You can imagine the emotion of it.
Well, Australia got a little bit lucky there as Turkey looked to spring into the penalty area. The ball ricocheting off an Australian and back to the grateful arms of Patrick Beach, who will launch it long off the head of Maria Demiral for Turkey. We just had the match momentum stat pop up on screen, and it is basically, Andy Harper, all red, save for one little patch of green and gold. But it doesn't matter how much of the play you have, it's about scoring goals. And Australia have the one that matters so far. Mo Toure has committed a foul, just dragging his opponent back. Free kick to Turkey, deep inside their own half.
And it's not a free kick he intended to give away, but it's not a bad one to concede. Here's the shot. We're just seeing the shot saved by Goulet. Patrick Beach with the quick release, and pictures that Australians will cherish for generations. What a moment for Nestori Irankunda and this Socceroos team, and the 10,000 Aussies in the stadium, and all those listening on SEN. What a privilege to be here, and what a start from Australia.
Nestori Irankunda, just the 10th Australian to score at a World Cup. Men's World Cup, that is, of course. Tim Cahill, the nation's all-time leading scorer in the finals with 5, and then it's Mila Jedinak with 3, Brett Holman with 2, and 1 each for John Aloisi, Harry Kewell, Craig Moore, Craig Goodwin, Mitch Duke, Matt Leckie, and now Nestori Irankunda, who's just committed the latest foul and is just going to have a word in his ear from match referee Jesus Valenzuela, and is told in no uncertain terms next time that will be a yellow card. Turkey quickly on with the game. Ferdi Kadiolu on the ball, level with the Australian penalty area. On the left-hand side, this is Barış Yilmaz looking to find the angle for the cross. And Kökçü trying to scoop it in towards the top corner, but he was off balance, and ultimately the shot was way off target, Andy Harper.
And ultimately, Turkey players' technique is not good enough in the crucible moments. Patrick Beach with one excellent save. We'll give him the credit. That fingertip onto his right-hand post. That stunning shot from Bardakci. And Australia in pole position. And there wasn't a Turkish fan past whom you'd walk pre-game who wasn't tipping a 3-0 win for Turkey. Well, whatever happens from here, that prediction's gone.
35 minutes played. Tony Popovic on the sideline with an encouraging clap of the hands. Passes attempted. We've just had that stat Australia 114, Turkey 266. That's more than double, but again, whichever way you slice the numbers, it is goals that matter. And Australia in possession through Harry Sutar. Clips it out towards Jacob Italiano. Intelligent ball off the chest to find Connor Metcalf, who gets the head up early and finds Irankunda. This is good play by Australia. Geordie Boss on the left. Australia looking threatening here. Can they find the right delivery into the box? Ocon Engsler. It's a bit deep. In fact, it's too deep for Italiano. Goal kick.
Disappointing, really disappointing. It was set nicely. Jacob Italiano been excellent in this game, and a couple of really clever touches from him, linking with Connor Metcalf, opened the field up for the Socceroos, and Ocon Engsler, with the easiest pass of them all to make, really, blazed away, and the chance evaporated for the Socceroos. It's now Turkey in possession again.
Australia 1, Turkey 0. On the Valvoline scoreboard, the original engine oil and official supporter of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. That's a through ball that was always going to favour Patrick Beach, and he was smartly off his line to gather. Looking fairly composed on his World Cup debut. His shock selection today ahead of regular skipper Matt Ryan. One that not many of us saw coming, Andy.
No, and when you consider just what an earthquake that announcement was, not just for Matt Ryan, but for the youngster taking Matt Ryan's place. But he's settled really well, Patrick Beach.
And by the way, how about that for composure from Harry Sutar under pressure? You heard the gasps from the Australians in the crowd. He's barely played any football this season due to injury. Now, Nestor Irankunda has got away from the defender who slipped. And Australia have a 3-on-3 attack, but they've somewhat butchered that. Might go out for an Australian throw. That is the case, but it might have been more.
Yeah.
Again, had a good break there.
It's those moments, just that little bit of lack of quality. Nestor maybe relaxed a little bit as he hit the ball square, and it neither went to Connor Metcalf nor Jacob Italiano. And to Italiano's credit, again, it's another feather in his cap in this first half. He slid in bravely to win the challenge, which has earned the throw in for Australia. It's the Socceroos fans' voices he can hear in full cry here at the moment.
Here's Geordie Boss at the edge of the penalty area. He got nice, clean contact, just not the direction it flashes past the post and out for a goal kick for Turkey. And
Geordie Boss, one of the top players in the comp at the moment for the Socceroos. He's probably been quiet. It's a great save. Again, we've just seen on the monitor. It's definitely a save from Patrick Beach. You called it first, Simon. I'm later to that party.
Well, it goes down as a brilliant stop.
Excellent.
And one that the Socceroos are grateful for, because it was only really a couple of minutes after Australia had taken the lead, and that really would have rocked them back on their heels. So credit to the Melbourne City custodian. Now Italiano forced into a rather hurried back pass, which Beach does really well to control and get out of harm's way. But this is Arda Güler. Swivel of the hips to take him clear of Ocon Engsler in the midfield. Turkey back in control. Güler rolls it into the path of Abdul Karim Bardakçı, who had that shot that was tipped onto the post by Beach. Yildiz with the cross, and it came off the head of Alessandro Ciccati and grabbed under no real pressure by Patrick Beach.
Who's not waiting to get the game restarted again. It's great confidence by the Socceroos. They are finding it occasionally difficult to play out of the back and through the lines, but they're still backing themselves to do it, and if they need to put their head down and just drop the ball with a bit more length, they're prepared to do it. Great mentality from the Socceroos in this opening half of their 2026 World Cup Finals campaign.
And they have made the perfect start thanks to Nestor Irankunda. His goal on 27 minutes, dividing the teams as we head into the last 5 minutes of this first half. The clock for Valvoline, the original engine oil, official supporter of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. There's a bit of space here on the left for Ferdi Kadiolu for Turkey. Now it's with Barış Yilmaz, and again that familiar pattern of players waiting in the middle, Andy, and the ball just not arriving for Turkey.
Yilmaz, the peroxided left winger for Turkey, I'd say has had more possession than any other player on the field, and he's not delivered a thing yet. It's up against Jacob Italiano, in my opinion, not really noted for his defensive strength at this point in his career, but he's been excellent, Italiano, in this first half. And Turkey have just kept knocking on the door, but nothing more than that.
I do wonder whether Vincenzo Montella might be tempted to make a change and bring on Kenan Yildiz in the second half, his big star from Juventus. Here's a chance, though, edge of the penalty area. And it's fired well wide again. Same player, Arda Güler, same result. Patrick Beach untested.
It's not a great shot, but Tony Popovic won't want the chances racking up for Güler. He's not going to keep missing all night. Okan Ensler, perhaps if he could get there just a little half-yard closer. It was a good stretch from the young Sydney FC midfielder to put the extra pressure on, and Güler blazed away. And you're looking at this performance as much as it was expected. Well, the game plan was expected. Delivering it's another thing. The only one really who hasn't contributed the way they might, Simon, so far is Geordie Boss. You know, he's one of the leading lights of the team. He's had a great domestic season. Picking a big second half for him, and if he can add to the collective here.
Here is Irankunda. Goes to ground. Referee says no foul. Australia still in possession. And Geordie Boss did have that effort, of course, some moments ago. That flew wide of the post, but here's a break. It's 5-on-3 for Turkey. Danger looming for Australia. Burgess can't cut that one out. Okan Ensler gets back and gets a touch, and now Burgess will lash the ball upfield. And Australia survived, but another little warning sign there, Andy Harper.
Well, again, it was a poor pass. Okan Ensler has been good tonight, but he's lost a couple of balls, and that straight pass from him was intercepted. Great chase back from Aidan O'Neill. And Okan Ensler not far behind in repairing the damage that his errant pass created.
A half-time whistle just 2 or 3 minutes away. There will be some stoppage time to be added, of course, primarily for the drinks break. But Australia at the moment holding firm, protecting that lead, given to them by Nestor Irankunda. Yilmaz trying to get to the byline again. It is going to be a Turkey corner, despite Jacob Italiano's protests.
Yeah, it's a super effort again from Italiano. He's just not given a thing away.
Well, they've overturned that decision. Of course, the new rules at this World Cup that so long as the decision is made quickly by VAR, they can rule and tell the referee, no, you got that one wrong. It's a goal kick, not a corner, and that's what they've done.
Yeah. Well, it was super work from... Italiano has had a stellar first half.
And to be fair, we thought, Andy, pre-game, that might be the area of the pitch that was a problem for Australia.
Well, we're not the only ones, clearly, Simon, because Turkey have driven most of their traffic down at Jacob. He has been sensational.
Metcalf. Nice roll and release for Boss. Here's Irankunda. Edge of the box where he lost his footing. And ultimately the ball. And now Australia must scramble back. It's good scrapping by Okan Ensler, because Turkey are very quick in transition. But they smelt the danger on that occasion, Australia.
Yep. They're recovering well and now playing their own way through. Here's Boss. Can he deliver?
Irankunda with pace. Taking on Maria Debadali, has Boss alongside him. Still Nestor Irankunda, and this time it's straight at the goalkeeper. Goodness me, the Australians in the stands were out of their seats. Okan Ensler has then won the ball back momentarily for Australia, but carried it over the sideline for a Turkey throw. But goodness me, Nestor Irankunda is frightening the life out of Turkey's defence.
This is going to sound like a big one, Simon. There are a few players on the planet like Nestor. He is uncontainable when he's in this mood. The challenge for him is to get in that mood and with that output more consistently. But the power and the speed, it's frightening.
We tick over into the first of 4 additional minutes at the end of the first half. Still Australia 1, Turkey 0. Simon Hill and Andy Harper in commentary here in Vancouver. Motore trying to break through midway inside his own half. No way through for Australia. It's back with Kadiolu on the left, midway inside the Australian half of the field. Yilmaz, who's had so many chances to put in a decent cross and hasn't really delivered as yet. This is Arda Güler. It's very tight in there. Well, they're just trying to play a little too intricately there, you sense, Turkey, but Australia couldn't clear their lines.
A little bit of fatigue kicking in as well. You're seeing in that last little passage of play, Connor Metcalf, the most recent, a chance to hack the ball clear, which is the option they take, but didn't really have the energy to focus necessarily.
Clever ball by Kadiolu into the penalty area. Aktukolu back for Yilmaz, and beat chops to punch. He got good distance on it, in fairness.
Yeah, nervous moments these for Australia. Visibly tiring the Socceroos. Turkey setting up with possession again. If they're not careful, the Aussies, they will pick that pass, Turkey.
They need to get to half-time with that 1-0 scoreline still intact. Yilmaz on the left. Oh, but miscommunication between him and Orkan Kukçu, and that pressure valve is released for Australia.
Simon, that was the moment. That really was the moment for Turkey. Australia visibly fatiguing as we go into the last 2.5 minutes of added time on this first half. It's been a brilliant first half for Australia, getting a little bit ragged in these closing moments, and the Turkish fans rose with the volume because they knew that was their chance as they built down the left-hand side again, but the attack comes to nothing. They've been very disappointing in that phase of the game. Have Turkey, Yilmaz and Kukçu in combination, that last attack, playing the ball out for the goal kick, which was providing welcome respite for Australia.
And again, I asked the question, Andy, depending on his fitness, do they bring on
of course they do.
Kenan Yıldız second half?
Well,
even as early as half-time?
Of course they do, if he's got anything in him, because the left-hand side hasn't worked for them. They've clearly identified their left-hand attack. We go again down that part of the field now.
Here's Yilmaz once again. Creates an angle for the cross, but opts to go back to Çalhanoğlu. Australia sat so deep on the edge of their own penalty area, volleyed away to safety by Okan Egsler. Retrieved by Abdülkerim Bardakçı, and Turkey will have to start again. We've almost played 3 minutes of stoppage time. There's 4 minutes, or a minimum thereof, to be played. And Australia, at the moment, would love to be back in that dressing room and having a bit of a breather. Here's Arda Güler. Oh, it's brilliant skill by Arda Güler. Aktukolu just shaping to shoot, and that is a brilliant challenge by Cam Burgess.
No, Simon, it was Chirkati.
It was Chirkati, my apologies. What a tackle that was to save Australia's bacon. Still more defending to do in the dying embers of the first half. Wide left this time is Kukçu, going for the low delivery, and Chirkati's there again at the near post to see it out for a throw.
Anywhere will do at the time being for Australia.
They do look a little tired at the moment.
Most certainly. What a brilliant tackle that was from Chirkati. Plays for Parma in Italy Serie A, where the fans have nicknamed him the Wall, and we saw clear evidence of it then. They're skirting on the edge at the moment defensively, the Socceroos. Can they see it out till half-time?
Aktukolu trying to go around and in behind Cam Burgess, and Turkey have been smothered once again. Listen to the cheers from the Socceroos fans. That is half-time. What a first half for the green and gold. All those 10,000 Australian supporters on their feet. And to be fair, Australia were almost out on their feet at the end of the first half. But Nestor Irakunda's goal on 27 minutes divides the teams at the break in Vancouver. It is Australia 1, Turkey 0.
SEN says yes to going out after the game with DD. Cheap trips so you can do more. When you buy certified Australian made, you're backing local businesses, jobs and our economy right here. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster.
When you're stuck in a long queue or sitting for a new hairdo, add some thrill to your wait with our $40 million jackpot every 3 minutes. Keno Go. Download now. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply. Gamble responsibly.
Oi, tradies, what would you do with 22 paid hours off? 22 hours of non-stop golf?
Nice shot.
Fishing trip at the top end? Straight to the pub to shout the bar? Thrive has smart software built for small business that can save you 22 hours a week on boring admin. To celebrate, they're giving it back with the Better Things to Do competition. Win 22 paid hours plus $7,000 spending money. To enter, tell us what you do at thryv.com.au. T's and C's apply.
Feeling like you deserve a tasty treat? Stop by your nearest Metro Petroleum and cool those taste buds with a Mr. Whippy ice cream cup. Try all the fun flavours for $3.50 each or 2 for $6. Limited time only deal. And, of course, to stay hydrated as you move through your day, pick up Metro Spring Water 600ml range, 2 for $2 or 4 for $3. Offers available June 1st to 30th at all participating Metro Petroleum locations. Metro Petroleum, more than just fuel.
Business owners, it's time to stop paying your suppliers. Just pay.com.au it instead and get points. With pay.com.au, you can finally get rewarded for the bills you're already paying. Simply link your payment details through pay.com.au and every business transaction made through the platform earns reward points. From straightforward bank transfers to leveraging your existing credit card facilities, even those suppliers who traditionally only accept direct debits. You can use your points on almost anything: flights, hotels, shopping and more. Discover the surprisingly rewarding side of managing your business finances. Visit pay.com.au today and get your business flying.
Gear up for Australia's greatest sporting rivalry as Ampol State of Origin returns to Melbourne with Game 2 kicking off on Wednesday, June 17. Don't miss the intensity of Origin as it descends on the iconic MCG, where the Blues and Maroons battle in front of the Melbourne faithful. Whether you're a die-hard NRL fan or a footy first-timer, this is your chance to witness the rivalry live. Secure your tickets today at nrl.com/tickets. Ampol State of Origin. Nothing like it.
G'day, it's Gary. I'm a Kubota Love Tough man. When I get stuck, I talk to Joe from Peninsula Kubota. I wouldn't trust anyone else for machinery to keep my property in prime condition, because Peninsula Kubota have the best range of Kubota tractors, mowers, skid steers and utility vehicles. Plus, the right advice for anyone on the peninsula with a farm or a lifestyle property. Speak to Joe and the team at Peninsula Kubota today or visit peninsulaKubota.com.au. Kubota, love tough.
That's the sound of a cricket bat being shaped. Concrete mixing. Socks being stitched. Made right here in Australia. And when you look for products certified with the green and gold kangaroo, you can be confident you're buying an Australian-made product. You're backing local businesses, jobs, and our economy. Look for Australian-made and buy Australian.
Say yes to turning into a Socceroo girl at the pub. Say yes to going out after the game. Say yes, I'm Dee Dee. Woo! Woo!
When you're stuck in a long queue or sitting for a new hairdo, add some thrill to your wait with our $40 million jackpot every 3 minutes. Keno Go. Download now. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply. Gamble responsibly.
SEN says yes to going out after the game with DD. Cheap trips so you can do more. When you buy certified Australian made, you're backing local businesses, jobs and our economy right here. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster. This is the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
And it was straight at Patrick Beach, and Socceroos fans breathe a big sigh of relief, but now they spring into the attack. It's Nestor Iraconda! He's done it! What a goal from one end of the pitch to the other! Nestor Iraconda, you star! But they've got to focus. Good clearing header by Sutar. Out it comes. Oh, that's a great hit! It's off the woodwork. Goodness me, Abdul Karim Bardakji. And the post is still reverberating, I think.
This is more than just a game.
The global game. Choices Flooring halftime floor show. Choices Flooring. Style, comfort, quality. Helping you choose with confidence. Broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster.
Yes, welcome back to Vancouver. This is the global game Choices Flooring halftime show with Simon Hill and Andy Harper. What a first half. We're going to recap everything that we've seen over the previous 45 minutes. Thanks to Host Plus, named Best Super Fun by Money Magazine, Finder and Mozo. That's a plus issued by Host Plus Pty Limited. Check the PDS and TMD at hostplus.com.au. Broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster. Well, we have seen some big moments here at BC Place Stadium in that opening 45 minutes. Not more so than that fantastic goal from Nestor Iraconda after 27 minutes. Australia fortunate to maintain the lead just 2 minutes after that Bardakji hitting the post with the help of a little touch from Patrick Beach, goes down as a fantastic save. Let's get the thoughts of our expert commentator Andy Harper. Now, thanks to Chemist Warehouse, get discounted prescriptions and save more money at Chemist Warehouse, broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster. Harps, what a first half.
Incredible first half. If you're sitting down thinking, apart from the selection discussions which were reverberating around the ground, everyone was imagining how the Socceroos might do this, what's the plan going to be, and give or take various names and individuals here and there. That was basically the pattern. Brilliant goal from Nestory Irinkunda. And let's say, Simon, equally brilliant, the save from Patrick Beach to keep it at 1-0. And Nestory's moment, which has given Australia the lead, was so hugely exciting. The guy is just so powerful and unstoppable from that sort of range in that mood. But if Patrick Beach isn't equally brilliant, we wouldn't be in at half-time with the lead that we have. So where do Australia go from here? I thought they did a brilliant job for 40 minutes and then visibly, to me, looked like they were getting a little bit ragged. Now, they need to address that in the first half. Pleasingly, this first half, in a break from tradition under Tony Popovic, was a very good first half, but he's got a lot of work to do now again in the sheds with the boys, because they can't continue for another 45 minutes the way they finished that first half. It was desperate. It was get the ball away anywhere. It was like, we've run out of gas. We need a break. You've got your break now. Popovic needs to recharge the batteries and reset the football mentality, because before that 40 minutes, including the goal, but the way they defended and played otherwise, is the form that can get them out of the group. The last 5 minutes, as desperate as the defending was, isn't going to be good enough to survive this game, because you keep inviting Turkey into that territory and hacking the ball clear anywhere just to get it out of your back third. Eventually, they will find a route to goal. Doesn't matter how brilliant Patrick Beach might be. So that's the point of concern for me. That's the change that needs to be made. They're the alterations that Popovic needs to reinstill as far as the mentality is concerned. And the Socceroos can do it from here. Brilliant 40 minutes of the 45.
The question remains, I guess, is 15 minutes long enough to get energy back into tired muscles? The lactic acid, once it kicks in, it's difficult to shake off, even this early on in the game. Does he need to make changes off the bench?
I wouldn't have thought so yet. I mean, they'll be doing all that analysis now, but there's two points to the question you raised. Firstly, you've got 15 minutes, and then you've got three-quarter time. You've got the drinks break in 20 minutes. And the sports scientists in the squad need to be calibrating whatever supplements, whatever drinks are going into players. And also a big part of the fatigue from that first half is the emotion of the occasion. It's the youngsters doing the job. Beach to Okon Engsler to Irinkunda for the lead. Hugely emotional, those moments, for not just the three players, but for the whole squad, to take a lead in the game that no one thought you would do. Certainly Turkey talking Australia down. And so at halftime, Tony Popovic then has to become the mentor, not just the tactician. It's about rechanneling and refocusing the energy and dealing with the emotion as high as it was, stabilising things and refocusing on this second half.
The lights have just gone out in the stadium. We're all watching the big screen. The roof tonight here is closed at BC Place. And I do wonder if that's sort of adding a little bit to the humidity and making it a little bit more difficult for the players.
That's a very, very good point, Simon. It's certainly warmer in the stadium than it is outside. Beautiful day in Vancouver. No worries about the weather having a deleterious effect on the match, but the roof is closed. And it does make the air a little bit more cloistered and certainly warmer. That will be a factor, but it's the same for Turkey. You know, they've got to deal with this as well. And they've got to turn and chase Australia as they break on the counter-attack. So it's equally taxing. And the big thing for me is the emotion. Get the players settled again, get them refocused, cool themselves down inside, as well as, if I can say, physiologically, and then get ready for another 45 minutes of battle. They were brilliant for 40 minutes. That's the model going through here. They can pick up 3 points and sit on top of the group with the US, and then with game 2 to come.
Now, as we speak, Turkey are warming up Kenan Yildiz. We did broach this question towards the end of the first half. We will come back to how Turkey approach the second half in a moment. But we are going to talk big moments thanks to Liquorland. Game on, drinks sorted, legendary. Liquorland, broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster. So, the big moments of this first half, Harps. Obviously, Nestory Irinkunda's goal really set this place alight. And I think, as we said in the call, you know, now the world knows about him. We've known about him for 2 or 3 years, this big talent that's coming out of Australia. We wondered, could he do it on the world stage? The answer is, you betcha.
Undoubtedly so. I mean, the only question that remains about Nestori is getting the consistency to deliver. I mean, clubs around the world will be looking at what this guy can do. It was a reaffirmation, but a brilliant goal from him and some huge moments in that first half.
There were the thoughts of our expert commentator Andy Harper. Thanks to Chemist Warehouse. Get discounted prescriptions and save more money at Chemist Warehouse, broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster. Our halftime partner, of course, is Choices Flooring, broadcast sponsor as well of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster. We're back after a short break.
SEN says yes to going out after the game with DD. Cheap trips so you can do more. When you buy certified Australian made, you're backing local businesses, jobs and our economy right here. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster.
Say yes to proudly showing up for your country and then losing your dignity on the dance floor. It's the Australian way. Say yes to going out after the game. Say yes, I DD.
Look out for Sunny to find your local Sunrise store. Whether you're craving a good cup of coffee, a sweet treat, or just a clean place to pee, they've got you covered. Just pop into your local servo with a smile, where happiness is served daily.
That's the sound of a cricket bat being shaped. Concrete mixing. Socks being stitched. Made right here in Australia. And when you look for products certified with the green and gold kangaroo, you can be confident you're buying an Australian-made product. You're backing local businesses, jobs, and our economy. Look for Australian-made and buy Australian.
Half-yearly clearance on now. Harvey Norman, Melbourne's kitchen and laundry appliance specialist. Hisense fridges from only $392. LG French door fridges from just $1,788. Front-load washers now from only $488. Big brand dishwashers now starting from just $544. And Westinghouse multifunction oven now just $488. Best brands, best range, best prices. There's more in store at Harvey Norman, Melbourne's kitchen and laundry appliance specialist. Half-yearly clearance on now. Conditions apply.
Hot party you've ever seen. Rain comes on steady, hot and strong. It just keeps on and on.
Get the best in heat pump and solar hot water and government rebates.
Install a rain. Install a rain. Install a rain.
Accept nothing less than Australia's best.
Gear up for Australia's greatest sporting rivalry as Ampol State of Origin returns to Melbourne with Game 2 kicking off on Wednesday, June 17. Don't miss the intensity of Origin as it descends on the iconic MCG where the Blues and Maroons battle in front of the Melbourne faithful. Whether you're a die-hard NRL fan or a footy first-timer, this is your chance to witness the rivalry live. Secure your tickets today at nrl.com/tickets. Ampol State of Origin. Nothing like it.
Hi, it's Hamish McLaughlin. Toyota's Good for Footy raffle plays a vital role in the footy community, raising funds for local grassroots clubs all around Australia. And it's the local legends within those clubs that get the job done. Here's a local legend sharing their club's story.
Hi, it's Paul Constantino, co-captain of the under-14s at Noble Park Junior Football Club. Patterson Cheney Toyota has partnered with our club for over 20 years. With their support, the club was able to get new footballs and equipment for our teams each season. They help us enjoy the game of footy every week. So from all of us at Noble Park Junior Football Club, thanks Patterson Cheney Toyota for supporting us year in, year out.
Another great example of Toyota's support for community grassroots football. Now that's good for footy. Oh, what a feeling, Toyota.
This is your last chance. There's less than 5% of tickets remaining in the Royal Melbourne Hospital Home Lottery. Imagine getting the phone call that changes everything. You've just won the $4.4 million Mount Martha Grand Prize. That moment is still within reach, but tickets are almost sold out. And every ticket helps ensure the Royal Melbourne Hospital is there for Victorians when it matters most. Don't let this moment pass you by. Get your tickets now at rmhhomelottery.com.au. Permit 1006126.
Say yes to tackling a couple of socceroonas at your local after the match. You get it? Socceroonas, schooners. It sounds like schooners. Anyway, say yes to going out after the game. Say yes. IDD.
SEN says yes to going out after the game with DD. Cheap trips so you can do more. When you buy certified Australian made, you're backing local businesses, jobs and our economy right here. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster. This is the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Welcome back to Vancouver. Second half just back underway. It's still Australia 1, Turkey 0. Turkey have just won a free kick just inside the Australian half of the field. And the big news to tell you as the second half gets underway, Andy Harper, and we sort of speculated about it towards the end of the first half, that Kenan Yildiz of Juventus has replaced Barış Yilmaz at half-time.
Well, all things considered, it's a big in for Turkey. It's a big threat for Australia, depending on his fitness. He has had a calf injury, hasn't played the last couple of games, and clearly they thought they could do it without him in that first half, but enough evidence in.
Here is Kökçü with the ball into the penalty area of Australia, but seen away in the first instance by Okan Engsler, but not very far. Arda Güler looking to link up with Aktürkoğlu. Australia snaffle the ball away. And Jordi Boss has done well to retain possession, and now it's Mo Toure running at the Turkish defence. He has Jordi Boss on the left, and there's a player at the back post as well in Nestor Irankunda, and in the end Jordi Boss went for goal and deflected off Maria Demiral and away for a Socceroos corner. But that was a good break, and Jordi Boss leading the charge.
It's a great sight. This is a great sight. Jordi Boss needs to contribute more in the second half than he did in the first. But what a sight. Mo Toure on the break, Irankunda to one side, Jordi Boss on the left. Three, well, they're names of the now, but they're going to be huge names in the future for Australian football. And Jordi Boss turning onto that right foot, shooting with a deflection wide for the corner. Australia haven't threatened from corners yet.
Well, they've got a cluster of three. Chakati, Burgess and Sutar, the three central defenders at the back post. Now they scatter. It goes towards Sutar. It's a little bit deep for him. Italiano's going to try and shoot. Goodness me. That's ended up in about row H of the stand.
Not Jacob's best moment of what's been a very, very good game. Coming into the World Cup finals, of course, he had a couple of weekends in the Austrian Bundesliga where he plays for Graz AK. He scored a couple of beautiful goals. What had he done with one of them then? He was set nicely. He had time. It hit high and wide of the target. Turkey setting again. The Yildiz inclusion could be pivotal.
Well, Yildiz in Turkish means star in English, and he is a real star. Let's see if he can have an impact. He's waiting for the ball to drop his way. This is Orkun Kökçü trying to scrap his way into the Australian penalty area, which ultimately he did, but Harry Sutar puts a size 11 boot through it and sends it back into Turkish territory. But Australia can't afford to sit too deep too early.
No. And just turn the game into try and choke the penalty area and hack the ball clear. They've got to...
This is Yildiz. Just break in there, Harps. And a chance for Çalhanoğlu. They're working this nicely, Turkey. Ball goes loose, the shot's blocked. Australia scrambling defence, and in the end, the effort from Ismail Yüksek was deflected away and behind for a corner, but that was a heart-in-mouth moment there for the Socceroos.
And there's going to be more of them if they can't get their slice of possession. Just a few minutes in now, so the game hasn't been able to take on a particular pattern. Australia with one very good breakaway, but Turkey dominating otherwise. And appeals from the Turkish players for a handball on Alessandro Tidikati. Waved away, rightly so, by the referee.
But they do have a corner, which their captain, Çalhanoğlu, was about to take. The referee just said, hang on a minute, whilst they check that in VAR. That alleged handball, that's been cleared. So it is a corner. Çalhanoğlu whips it in. It's off the head of Harry Sutar. His brother John was part of the Scotland squad that defeated Haiti by a goal to nil a bit earlier. The corner's been taken quickly. Burgess sees that one away. On the volley was Aktürkoğlu, not particularly cleanly. And Australia survive, and the ball is back with Kökçü. Rather aimless ball into the penalty area. Easily dealt with by Sutar, but again, just casually given away by the Socceroos.
Well, Ocon Ensler just hooked the ball over his shoulder, expecting Mo Toure to chase the ball down at halfway, but Mo Toure had dropped into the defensive formation. Australia need to be better than that.
Well, that ball is going to stay in play for Yildiz on the left-hand side, but fortunately for Australia, Maria Demiral, who was up for the previous quarter, had strayed into an offside position. The player who plays for Al Ahly in Saudi Arabia has won the last 2 AFC Champions League elite competitions. But rather nosebleed territory for him, I would wager, Andy.
Yeah, a little bit of a fish out of water. With some respite for Australia. And Turkey looking very assured. Australia just having to roll the sleeves up.
That's a good steal in midfield, though, by Aidan O'Neill, who is now driven back by the presence of Zeki Celik. And then Cameron Burgess all the way back to Patrick Beach in the Australian goal. The second half, 6 minutes old. Second half for Valvoline, the original engine oil and official supporter of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, as Australia get a little bit of a breather with a foul on Geordie Boss.
Yeah, it's good composed play from Geordie Boss. Got his ball, his body in between defender and ball. Won the free kick. Important moments for Australia.
Clipped into the channel quickly by Cameron Burgess, and he's found Mo Toure, who's at the byline. Iran Kunda needed to reel that one in. The loose ball, though, favours Australia, and Ocon Ensler. This is Geordie Boss, and that is going to be an Australian corner. That's a good response from the Socceroos.
They're really important building blocks. These little moments when they can break Turkey's momentum, win a free kick, and then move themselves up the field. Australia did very well. Interestingly, the star of the show so far tonight for Australia, Nestor Iran Kunda, has had 2 or 3 other occasions where his touch on the edge of the box has let him down. That was one just then. The corner came because of the Geordie Boss cross, but Nestor Iran Kunda had a chance to shoot at goal.
Here's the corner, clipped in by Aidan O'Neill, and Harry Suter got free. It's pushed away by Chakir. Back with O'Neill. Australia still with plenty forward in this attack. Chakati losing out initially, but he's won the ball back for the green and gold, and he goes down inside the box. Looks hopefully for a penalty. Referee says no. Italiano will sling in the cross, and Toure went for the spectacular overhead kick. Didn't really get the right connection. These are good moments for Australia. Iran Kunda in possession on the left-hand side. Almost level with the Turkish penalty area. Ocon Ensler driven back by Aktokolu. Geordie Boss twists and turns and gets rid of the Turkey. Number 7. You can hear the cheers from the Australian supporters in the crowd. They enjoyed that moment, Andy.
Well, he started this second half brilliantly. Geordie Boss is exactly what the team needs.
Australia just starting to string together 1 or 2 passes, and then it's broken up. And Burgess settles it down for the green and gold, deep inside their own half of the field. On the right-hand side is Alessandro Chakati, who made one very important block in the first half. And that defensive structure, so beloved of Tony Popovic, has so far stood firm. Here's Mo Toure as Australia look to build another attack. Toure looking to get the better of Zeki Celik. And gets a corner. Or does he? No. Belatedly, the flag goes up.
That's a good effort. Might have been a little bit more judicious with the ball there. There's the header from Harry Suter. And Mo Toure's a big toe away from deflecting that one in.
I'll tell you what, any sort of a deflection there from Toure, and that's 2-0 for Australia.
So after the opening 5 minutes, Australia were looking pretty scratchy. This is now the platform. Give as good as you're getting, and take that as long and deep into the game as you can.
10 minutes gone in the second half. Our clock for Valvoline, the original engine oil. It's Australia 1, Turkey 0. The goal scorer, Nestor Iran Kunda, has just given the ball away, and then Ocon Ensler is forced into chopping down Orkun Kökçü. And this is a free kick in a very serviceable position for Turkey, about 20-25 metres dead straight from the Australian goal.
Great situation for Turkey. Iran Kunda's touch just too heavy. And Ocon Ensler forced into some remedial work, which breached the laws of the game, and Turkey with this free kick. Probably about 30 yards from goal.
And it's the side of the field just about, Andy, that really favours Arda Güler, who is their free kick specialist. There's Çalhanoğlu there as well, of course, just to keep the Australians guessing. It is Arda Güler, and he got it through the wall. Good save by Beach. Still not completely clear for Australia. Yildiz couldn't get his shot away. And on Turkey are appealing for handball here. At the moment, the verdict is corner. And the ball did appear to bounce up. Did it strike an Australian hand?
Well, it was excellent work from Patrick Beach. Good recovery from Italiano as well. And the Aussies tried to hack the ball clear. Just checking on that handball decision. Referees asked the corner to be delayed.
Well, there were one or two Turkey players that were convinced, but that's been waved away. VAR has checked it. Here's the corner from Çalhanoğlu. First phase is dealt with and then fired over the top by Ismail Yüksek. And Australian fans listening back home on SEN Radio, you can breathe easily once again.
We are, only just. It's a nerve-wracking experience, this. Australia with their noses in front, 27 minutes in. Watford's Nestori Irankunda giving Australia the lead. And a really good performance, bar a few moments where Australia have just had to stand and hack the ball clear.
Tell you what, there was a bit of confusion there in the Turkish defence between Kadiolu and Bardakci, and goalkeeper Çakır, who eventually took charge and lashed the ball out for an Australian throw on the far side of the pitch. Pretty much midway inside Turkey's half of the field. And Australia are pondering making a change, and it's Nishan Velupillay who's standing by off the bench. Andy Harper, what's your take on that? We'll come back to that. Metcalf looking to link up with Toure. It's out again for another Australian throw.
Well, it's going to be, you'd imagine, for Irankunda or Metcalf, because Nishan is a winger. Australia don't play ostensibly with wingers. Or maybe Mo Toure missed a couple of training sessions this week. Maybe Irankunda goes to play as a centre forward.
Maybe a slightly surprising pick in the Australian squad, Nishan Velupillay. Not exactly had a vintage season for Melbourne Victory, but Tony Popovic knows him, of course. He played under Popovic at Victory, trusts him, likes him, and we know what he can bring, and he's done well for his country.
Well, he scored on debut for the Socceroos, scored a couple of goals in his first few matches to really set himself up.
Almost an hour played in Vancouver. Still Australia 1, Turkey 0 on the Valvoline scoreboard. The original engine oil and official supporter of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Arda Güler brings the ball forward for Turkey, but it's a misplaced pass and swept away rather carelessly, you have to say, by Jacob Italiano, who's under no pressure. Maybe he didn't get a call from a teammate. He had more time than he thought. Here's Kenan Yildiz, fresh off the bench, of course, but how fit is he? Darts into the penalty area. It's a great run by Yildiz. The ball spoons up in the air, and eventually Cam Burgess takes charge, and Beach grabs the football gratefully.
So dangerous for Australia, Yildiz. And it was Jacob Italiano who just hacked the ball clear, and it's that tiredness in the thought process. A long way from home for Australia just to be standing and hacking the ball away. And thankfully that's not been in huge evidence in this second half, but they've got to get rid of it completely, or they'll just invite Turkey in. A towering header from Burgess upfield now, and a foul on Irankunda, which gives Australia a chance, you'd imagine, to make this substitution.
Little shove in the back of the Australian goal scorer by Zeki Çelik, the right back from Roma, who played in the Europa League final back in 2022-23. Here is that change, and it is Nestori Irankunda, the goal scorer. Well, this will be a night he remembers for the rest of his life. The first time he scored in the World Cup finals, and it's the goal that separates the two as he's replaced by Nishan Velupillay.
Yeah, and just starting to get a little bit ragged, Nestori, but he's done his job. He might have done it one or two other times, but it's just a brilliant goal to set Australia up here. And now it's the opportunity of Nishan Velupillay.
Well, on the pre-game walk to the stadium, Andy, I was in conversation with Nishan Velupillay's mother and father and his aunt, and they've all got the Velupillay shirts on, and I mean, we can't pick them out where they are in the stands from here, but I'm sure they'd be very proud to see their relative take his place on the pitch as Australia's free kick finds the head of Harry Suter, but comes to naught, grabbed by Çakır in the Turkish goal.
Yeah, very commanding. Çakır when he needed to be. So Australia now with the twin worries of Arda Güler in possession now through the centre circle, spreading it out to the danger number 2, Yildiz.
Here is Yildiz up against Jacob Italiano. He's got supports on the edge of the penalty area. And again, they perhaps just try to overplay it a little bit, Turkey. And in the end, they've given away the throw. And you'll know that because you've just heard a big cheer from the Australian supporters.
Substitution for Turkey. Player number 6, Orkun Kökçü.
There we go. Turkey making another change. Orkun Kökçü has been replaced and Yunus Akgün is on in his stead. Attacking midfielder, come right winger from Galatasaray, had a spell under Vincenzo Montella at Leicester City in England a couple of years ago. So Turkey going to all their big guns off the bench. Here's another one of them, Kenan Yildiz, but his shot is charged down by that deep-lying Australian defence who've retreated into their very basic shape on the edge of their own penalty area once again, Andy. But so far, it's served them pretty well.
Yeah, no, there's nothing to be surprised about what the Socceroos are doing now. It's once they've seen an attack away, how they regroup, try and get the ball and keep it for a few moments themselves.
This is Kenan Yildiz. He turns it back towards Arda Güler, who tries that fast little angle ball into the penalty area, but he got away from Ferdi Kadiolu. Turkey still have the throw and are still on the attack midway inside the Australian half of the field. On the left-hand side of the pitch, their fans looking to lift the noise inside BC Place and roar their team on. Kenan Yildiz again on the ball. That one's cut out by Okan Engsler. Sent long, and he urges his teammates to push forward a little bit. The big screens have the pictures of the Australian fans, still with big smiles on their faces at the moment. But there is still a long way to go in this game. And how a second goal for Australia would calm the nerves. They did have one chance at the outset of the second half, Andy. Jordy Boss with the shot that was deflected wide.
And the header from Suter, which was almost falling to the feet of Mo Toure. Jordy Boss doing very well. Australia to link and build from here.
Well, they almost sprung clear of the trap that Turkey had set, but Arda Güler is back, having them facing their own goal. Turned back by Atukolu. Here's Kenan Yildiz, the little back heel. There are so many bodies in the Australian penalty area. And in the end, Volupele is back to lend a hand, but given away by Jordy Boss. Zeki Çelik strides forward. Güler couldn't control it. The ball was like a hot potato for a few seconds there.
Mate, it's nerve-wracking. Nerve-wracking for Socceroos fans here.
And then Güler's shot rebounds back off Conor Metcalfe and all the way out for a Turkey throw.
It's just that second pass. Often it's the first pass on counter-attack, which is the key. And Australia have lost a couple of those, but actually the one that's hurt them most is the second pass in counter-attack. Just coming unstuck. And Turkey coming again and building. Their fans can sense there's something brewing.
Well, they don't have that natural number 9. They've got plenty of talent elsewhere. Here's one of them, Kenan Yildiz. Top of the box is Arda Güler. He does most of the prompting with that wonderful left foot. Yildiz takes over. Fires in a shot on the angle. Güler again. And Yildiz again. And Australia just throwing bodies in the way. Really good block. This time by Aidan O'Neill, I think. Oh, goodness me. Australia having to defend in depth. And there are still, Andy Harper, 25 minutes to go in Vancouver.
A long way from home. in more ways than one, the Socceroos here. And Turkey, I mean, every player on the field, apart from Çakir in Turkey's goal, is about 30 yards from Australia's goal.
Well, they haven't got it right yet in the last third of the Australian half of the pitch.
But
Jordi Boss crowded out again. Another throw in for Turkey.
They are doing very well, Turkey, on that pass out. They're hunting in packs immediately to not let Australia settle on the ball.
Gula will find Kenan Yildiz in space. These are worrying moments for the Socceroos, trying to protect that 1-0 lead. Aktürkoğlu, though, loses out on the edge of its own penalty area. Now can Australia spring a counter? Mo Toure couldn't wrap his boot around that pass to flick it out wide for Okan Engsler. And Australia back on the defensive. Mo Toure's gone down, perhaps with cramp. He's getting a helping hand from Maria Demiral. Yunus Akgun on the attack for Turkey, but he's run it over the byline. And it's going to be a goal kick for Australia. Low fives all round between Suter and Burgess and Beach.
And it's a great intercept from Cam Burgess. He's been a rock. Western Wall defending Australians' goal here. 4 of the back 5 are out of West Australia, Perth. If we can include Harry Suter in that, of course. Australian by heritage, his mum from Port Hedland in Western Australia. But Italiano, Cercati and Burgess all out of the city of Perth, and they're defending Australia's honour brilliantly here.
Well, that is the signal for the second hydration break of the game. With Drinkwise, Drinks Break, sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster for all the goals, for all the corners, for all the passes, for the underdogs, for the champions, for the all-conquering moments, for the watch parties you might be attending during the tournament, maybe at home, maybe at the pub, maybe at the club. The Cup only comes around once every 4 years, and you want to experience and remember those moments, cheering with family, friends and other fans, celebrating together as one, celebrating at the right pace and looking after yourself while you do it. So if you are choosing to have a drink, make sure it's in moderation. Remember, you won't miss a moment if you drink wise. Drink Wise, Drinks Break sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster. And we send Sandy Harper in this hydration break that another change is imminent for Australia.
Well, it's the Adelaide connection. Iran Kunda with the game-separating goal on 27 minutes. Mo Toure, who's been brilliant, but he went down that last exchange. And it doesn't look like he'll continue. Let's hope there's no lasting soft tissue damage there for Mo Toure. He's not moving at all well in the centre circle, and his place to be taken by the third of the Adelaide African Australians, Teddy Yengi. A bolter in the World Cup squad, if ever there was, Simon.
Well, he did score on his debut in the build-up game against Switzerland. One of only 2 uncapped players in this Australian squad before the World Cup, along with Christian Volpato. But now he's got that debut and his first goal out of the way. He's going to be asked to play a big part here in place of Mo Toure, who did miss a training session earlier on this week, Andy. I'm told that was just nothing more than a bit of stomachache. So this, I think, is completely unrelated. But as you say, let's hope it's not too serious, because he's done a really good job for the Socceroos tonight.
He has, but again, surprisingly, given the preparation they've had, it was visibly tiring. Really fatigued efforts, and it suggests that it's cramp that's got him. Jason Gary is always stripped and ready to come on. Tony Popovic calling for the reinforcements. Things just looking a little frayed and ragged on occasion. Just got to secure the ball better. Once they've seen off a Turkey attack, they have to retrieve and retain that ball better than they're doing.
And do you think Jason Guerrier for Jacob Italiano to try and head off that threat of Kenan Yildiz?
Yildiz was the threat that was emerging before the game against Italiano. Jacobs had a brilliant game, but that's exactly what it might be. Mo Toure's actually staying on the field. Is he asking for some more time? Teddy Yengi is still stripped and ready to go. So too Jason Guerrier.
Yep, just being told to hang on for the moment. And it's the Australian fans you can hear in the background. I hope you're picking that up on our effects mic in full voice. They still hold the advantage thanks to that 27th minute goal netted by Nestori Iran Kunda. And those changes remain imminent not yet confirmed for Tony Popovic, who of course had an ill-fated spell in Turkey, didn't he, with Karabukspor, so a little bit of revenge perhaps on his mind tonight as well.
He might save that feeling for post-game. So I don't think
I'm
he'll
sure
be
he's not thinking about it at the moment. Yep.
But here's these moments again. Australia with a chance to play and they cough up possession immediately. It's coming straight back time after time.
Yep, they need to be a little bit better with the ball at their feet. This is Yunus Akgun who's got the ball at his feet. And turning it back for his teammate Ismail Yüksek along the defensive line and out for the dangerous Kenan Yildiz on the left. He's tricked his way past Jacob Italiano. It's a really good stretch by Chakati at the near post. Back with Turkey though. The back heel from Arda Güler. Now Kenan Yildiz, left-hand side of the Australian penalty area. Back out it comes and along the line towards Zeki Çelik. Now with Yunus Akgun on the right-hand side of the Australian penalty area. Çalhanoğlu trying to slip a ball through. It's a lovely pass for the fullback, Zeki Çelik. And Patrick Beach made a big save there at the near post because Çelik tried to fox him and thrash it with pace and beat him at the near post.
And Nishan Falukale beaten all ends up as the left-sided defender. Exposed badly, and very, very grateful that Patrick Beach did his job in goal for Australia.
That's two big saves by Patrick Beach. Here's the corner from Güler. Seen out for now by Harry Suter. Turkey will recycle possession. Çalhanoğlu thought about the shot for a moment. Squares it up for Yunus Akgun. Here's Arda Güler. Turkey now camped inside the Australian half of the field. And as soon as I say that, Ferdi Kadiolu gives a rare touch to his goalkeeper. Under pressure from Mo Toure, had to go back fully 60 metres.
Well, it might have been a sympathy pass just to make sure his goalkeeper stays connected with the game because he's seriously just a spectator. Chuck here.
Turkey, sorry Andy, Turkey have had 22 attempts on goal. Only 5 of those on target. Australia 8 with 3 on target. Here's Arda Güler, and that's another one off target for Turkey. Well, I reckon Australia will be encouraged by the fact that they're now shooting from outside the box. Those changes are now going to be made for Australia. It is going to be Tete Yengi to replace the stricken Mohamed Toure. And as we predicted, Andy Harper, Jason Guerrier for Jacob Italiano. And they're good substitutions for Tony Popovic.
Very, very timely. A great job done by both. Mo Toure a little scratchy with a couple of possessions, but the effort and the danger he posed, brilliant. Jacob Italiano had a really memorable game, a superb performance, but he was running out a bit of juice. And, of course, up against one of the stars of European football in Kenan Yildiz, who's certainly looking the goods out on the left wing for Turkey. So he now becomes the assignment of Jason Guerrier.
Double substitution.
And Jason Guerrier, vastly experienced, of course. Now playing his club football back in Japan for Albirex Niigata. And Australia, courtesy of an errant touch by a Turkish player on the attack here. It's Conor Metcalf! Oh my word! Oh my goodness! What a goal by Conor Metcalf! Something out of nothing from the edge of the penalty area. It is an arrow-like finish with the left peg, and he's now smothered by jubilant Australians. And why not? The Socceroos, hear this back in Australia, lead Turkey by 2-0.
Thunderstruck is the soundtrack, and thunderstruck is Vancouver. Conor Metcalf shows what Australia can do when they keep the ball. He's had a super game and he picked up possession deep in Australia's territory. He drove through halfway, angles in on goal, and this takes us back to South Africa 2010 and Brett Holman against Serbia. Only this one could win it for Australia against Turkey. Who'd have thunk it? Not the Turks, I'll give you the tip. They had Australia gone for all money, and the Socceroos are up by 2.
It's only Conor Metcalf's second international goal. He hasn't scored all season for his club. There are tears on the benches and hugs of pure unbridled joy between Tony Popovic and Paul Ocon, his assistant. Is that enough now for Australia? There's still plenty of time to be played, but we've just watched the replay. It is a sumptuous finish.
Brilliant, and it's Brett Holman and then some. What a moment for the South Cardiff gunner. He goes bang for Australia. Just an incredible moment. I'm sure Turkey can scarcely believe it. Down 2 in Vancouver. The drinks break is gone. We're into the last quarter, Simon.
Well, they had plenty to say in the build-up. Their captain, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, said, we'll dominate the game. We have better players. And you know what? He might be right. But you've still got to score the goals. And it's Australia who've done that. Now can they defend this lead? Yildiz, they appeal for handball as Yildiz's shot came in, but it was from point-blank range. I'm not sure that could be given as a penalty. I think it was Jordy Boss the ball hit. But Australia now have to keep cool heads after those celebrations. Well, there are less than 15 minutes to go. Sorry, Andy.
No, don't apologise, Simon. It's the emotion they've got to get control of. It is a draining factor in itself. Gives you a huge charge, of course, and doubles the lead, which is quite unbelievable, given the way the second half was unfolding.
Just wait a minute. Debit. Oh, and that shot by Aktürkoğlu. If it's either side of Patrick Beach, Turkey are on the board. And it's straight at the Melbourne City keeper. Can you believe it? From point-blank range.
It's an amazing chance. It's a second such chance. The first from Gula in the first half. And Australia sprung up to score their first goal. Just shy of 52,500 people here in Vancouver, British Columbia.
Well, I'll tell you what, Andy. Sometimes when you see chances like that and they're hit straight at the keeper, you do start to believe it's going to be Australia's night. But let's not go too early.
Yeah.
13 minutes plus stoppages.
It's just amazing. Amazing what they've done so far.
Yunus Akgün trying to thread the ball through the mass ranks of the Socceroos defence in front of him. Slid square by Çalhanoğlu. It's out for a throw-in. Nothing more for Turkey at the moment.
Nishan Volupale's got trouble at the moment. He's had trouble in possession. He's had a couple of troubles defensively. He's got to focus and get locked in here, Nishan.
The ball sent forward. Now Tete Yengi will challenge for this, and he's got the better of Bardakci. Briefly, anyway. And he will send Jason Guerrier forwards. The centre of Turkey's defence has looked shaky at times tonight. We did pick that pre-game.
Yeah.
They're decent in the air, Demiral and Bardakci, but they're not that comfortable on the floor.
Yeah, no, exactly right. Mo Toure has been hammering away at them to real effect. Here's the chance we're seeing on the monitor straight at Patrick Beach, who was calm enough to snuff things out. Yildiz has been brilliant. The handball claim on Jordy Boss, rightly waved away. Australians in full voice in Canada.
I'm sure you can hear them back home. There's 10,000 of them inside Specie Place, and they've just watched their team win another quarter. And Turkish heads, I don't know whether you sense, I just had a little look at one or two of them. Ferdi Kadioglu, head just started to drop a little bit.
Well, I'm sure they can't believe it. They've had all the ball, they've had some chances. Getting changed for Australia now. The denouement, possibly. Aziz Bayic.
Again, I was with his father earlier on today. Genial character. Came up and said hello. He'd love to see his son play in another World Cup. The corner whipped in. It's headed away by Abdulkarim Bardakci. Not fully clear yet for Turkey. Little slip, though, by Metcalf. And the ball goes out for a throw-in to Turkey, although Australia believe it should be theirs. And, in fact, the referee has changed his mind. And one or two Turkish fans that we're just seeing on the monitors with tear-stained eyes. They can't believe what they've watched here today. Their team full of superstars with only 10 minutes left on the scoreboards. Andy Harper, the Valvoline scoreboard, the original engine oil, and official support of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And their team is 2-0 down. And they have been two excellent finishes by Iran Kunda and Metcalf.
And the game at this point will be reduced to the chances Turkey missed when they shouldn't have. But as you've been labouring, the point you've been labouring, Simon, which is so right. Australia have had good chances outside of the two they've scored. Stunningly exciting goals. And now Tony Popovic shapes to bring on the experience. Matthew Leckie's already stripped, along with Aziz Bayic, getting the final instructions. Australia are about to turn from home, but it may as well be a mile away.
Good Good run. He's level in the penalty area. Eventually, Australia scoop it away thanks to Aidan O'Neill up towards the halfway line where they only find Maria Demiral and nobody in a green and gold football kit. 2 changes made by Turkey, by the way, in that last little break in play. Ismail Yüksek and Zeki Çelik have gone off. Mert Mulder and Salih Özkan are on, wearing numbers 18 and 5 respectively. It's getting late in the day now for Turkey to salvage even a point, which, I don't know about you, Andy, but at the start of play, I might have signed off for before the first whistle of the game. But now we'd be hugely disappointed if it wasn't all 3. Here is Mulder. Arda Güler. And again, he shoots wide from long range. Well, Australia will happily watch those sail either side of the post all night.
They certainly will. He is capable from that sort of range, but it does reveal a little bit of a lack of belief that they've thrown a lot at Australia. And Burgess, Chiakati and Suto, just to name 3 in that penalty area, have been outstanding. Patrick Beach relaunching play now, outstanding. And Aidan O'Neill, a peerless effort across the field. He has been superb in the centre of Australia's midfield.
It's going to be a double change next break in play for Australia. Jackson Irvine and Aziz Beich, 2 vastly experienced players to try and help see the game out for the Socceroos. Bit more defensive work to do before that can become reality. Yunus Akgun in possession for Turkey. Midway inside the Australian half, down the right-hand side, which they've not favoured too much in this game this evening, the Turks.
No, and Jackson Irvine is also ready to come on. Aziz Beich is an interesting one. As a left fullback, does he go on for Geordie Boss? Does Geordie Boss go up to left wing for the remaining moments of the game?
All will be revealed presently. Meantime, Turkey again looking to try and fashion an opportunity. It flicks off the head of Jason Geria. Australia trying to break clear, and now they were going to throw in, courtesy of a miscue by the Turkish defender Demiral. And this double change for Australia can now be made. And you're right, Andy, Geordie Boss is going to be one of those replaced. And the other is Paul Okon-Engsler. I tell you what, as Jackson Irvine replaces Paul Okon-Engsler, I mean, we looked at the changes at the start of the 90 minutes today, and we did scratch our heads a bit, but so far, and again, we're trying not to go too early, but Tony Popovic has got it bang on.
Well, it doesn't matter what happens from here, because the time that's elapsed and Paul Okon's contribution has justified his selection. A couple of errors in passing, but he put on the pass for Aaron Kunda and the goal. And he's had a fantastic, fantastic game. And he's got plenty of mates in green and gold. They're edging closer. Australia, 83, nearly 84 minutes gone. Australia up by 2.
Well, surely they can't blow it from here. This is Salih Özkan, one of several substitutions made by Turkey in a bid to try and turn this game around. But for all their possession, for all their eye-catching passing, for all their individual talents, they've not really created enough opportunities as yet to worry Australia. Although Patrick Beach, in fairness, has made a couple of very good saves. Now, a foul by Jackson Irvine, fresh to the game on Kerim Aktürkoğlu on the edge of the box, presents Australia with another potential problem, Andy Harper.
It is. It's a decent range as well. But Patrick Beach, talking about justifying selections, outstanding, really outstanding. And Turkey have fluffed their lines on a couple of occasions, but he's been calm and strong and excellent when he's needed to be.
Another change to be made by Turkey. Off goes Kerim Aktürkoğlu, who won that free kick. That's his final contribution. Deniz Gül, who plays his club football in Portugal with Porto and is 6'4" tall. Maybe they should have gone with a recognised big number 9 from the start, Turkey, against that sizable back three of Australia. Anyway, with 5 minutes to go, he is on. Turkey have a free kick. And Calhanoglu is lining this one up, and he got it through the wall, but Patrick Beach again is equal to it, pushes it away, and he pushed it into a good area as well. Wide and away from goal. Australia looking to break clear. Down goes O'Neill.
Look at that.
The whistle goes. It's going to be a card, which is going to be the first yellow, would you believe, of the contest.
What about the run, Simon, from Aidan O'Neill? The amount of territory he's covered under serious pressure. We're in the 85th minute of a World Cup finals match, and somehow he outsprints from a second-best position to Turkish opponents to win the front situation and the yellow card. And a respite free kick. Australia can take a breath, although Cam Burgess doesn't muck around. He launches it up to the big frame of Teddy Yengi.
And then Irvine steps in.
Need more from Teddy
Yengi.
Need more from him. Yeah, he's 6'6" or something like that. He's a massive human. And he's got to be throwing his weight around like Mo Toure was doing. He's got to do his best to at least make those a 50-50 if he can't secure possession. He can't just be there occupying space.
This is going to be a scrap for the last 5 minutes, as it has been all night, in fairness, for Australia. But, boy, they have stood up to the battle. And for all the pre-game talk, as we watch again, Çalhanoğlu's free kick, which probably was just creeping in to that bottom corner before Patrick Beach got across. It's a really good stop.
Yeah, he's done well. He's done very well.
A talk is cheap. And Australia are about to make Turkey eat their words. I won't go so far as to say that it's been a turkey stuffing just yet. But that scoreboard makes for very pleasant reading for Australian fans.
What about stuffing? But they'll be feeling roasted at the moment. And a lot of that brought on themselves. Australia not there yet, but getting close. 87 minutes tick by.
Kenan Yildiz tripping his way through. Arda Güler's stolen the march on the Australian defenders. Not a bad delivery. Back post here is Maria Demiral. Central defender, really, but playing as a right winger at the moment. Turkey desperate to try and put pressure on the Australian defence, but there's no way through. That's what Tete Yangi does best. And Nishan Volupale trying to race clear, but back providing cover was Ferdi Kadiolu, and Turkey survive.
Great speed from Kadiolu. Nishan Volupale had some territory in front of him. He would have backed himself too, but just didn't have the speed. Lovely work from Teddy Yengi. That's what he's got to do. Just get that big body in front of a Turkish player and fight for possession. Let your teammates then come and get the crumbs and you can join in upfield.
Less than 2 minutes to go, plus stoppages on the clock for Valvoline, the original engine oil. Australia edging closer to a seismic win in Vancouver, with the United States and Paraguay to come, match day 2 and 3. Çalhanoğlu lets it run, but it's a tame effort from Arda Güler. He's really not had his shooting boots on tonight, the talisman for Turkey.
Well, he has been a little bit short on game minutes because of injury himself. He hasn't looked like he's been playing injured. He has been trying to light the fuse for Turkey. He hasn't had a lot of supporters, actually.
28 attempts on goal Turkey have had. Australia just 9. But 2 excellent strikes from Nestor Irankunda in the first half. And then Connor Metcalf when Australia were really under the pump with a quarter of an hour to go. What do Turkey have left in the tank? We tick over into the 90th minute of the game. There will be a few minutes to be added on. This is Yunus Akgün on the right. Yet again, everybody behind the ball for Australia. Arda Güler sends it wide. Kenan Yildiz, a goal for Turkey now would make it a nervy finale for Australia. Arda Güler. Alessandro Ciccati facing him with his hands tucked in behind his back. The cross into the penalty area, up but not away by Sutar. Jackson Irvine helps it clear, and then hooked forward by Volupale, a little tangle.
I'm not sure.
And the foul goes against Tete Yengi there in the tangle with Saleh Özcan. I'm not sure it was a foul either, Andy.
Well, he ran straight in front of Teddy Yengi. What was he expecting him to do? The referee showing great charity there to Turkey.
Here's Yildiz inside the Australian penalty area again on the left-hand side. Little layoff for his captain, who will scoop it into the box, and Demiral heads it harmlessly behind. And they can rack up 30, 40, 50 shots if they want, but it doesn't look as though it's going to be Turkey's evening. And the fourth officials board shows 6 minutes to be added on. That is all that separates Andy Harper, Australia, from a famous first match day win over Turkey.
Getting really close, agonisingly close. Minimum of 6 minutes in the referee's hands from here. And Australia have done such an amazing job here. Some weak moments in possession which have invited Turkey on, but ultimately the Poppadome has been unbreachable. Patrick Beach behind that has been superb. And the goals that Australia have scored to earn them the lead so far, unforgettable.
Yenge is the outlet once again as Australia win the ball just shy of the halfway line. He's got two defenders around him, and there wasn't really an awful lot that the big striker could do. There are some glum faces among the Turkish supporter base in the stands, sensing that it's slipping away from them. We're into the second minute of those 6 additional as a minimum, remember. There might be a bit more than that. That's in the gift of the referee. Another block, this time by Bayic. Another throw in for Turkey, taken quickly by Güler. Çalhanoğlu with the switch of play. Wide left is Kenan Yildiz. He's tried his best to spur Turkey into action. He gets the cross in, but that's meat and drink for Cameron Burgess. Out again by this resilient Socceroos defence, and there are some tired bodies out there now on both sides of the equation. Geria beaten in the air, but Suter is in behind him to lash it out into the stands for another throw-in for Turkey.
Yeah, that'd been excellent. Jason Geria has been good off the bench, just beaten there. He's got probably the toughest assignment on the field at the moment against Yildiz, who is not looking injured to us. He's looking very, very dangerous.
2 minutes of stoppage time have elapsed. Jackson Irvine fends off the latest cross into the penalty area. Australia sitting deep, protecting this 2-0 lead. That's going to be a goal kick. Turkey wanted a corner. Are they going to be disappointed? And Maria Demirel has a bit to say. And now the referee will have his version of events, which no doubt will prove to be the winner.
Well, Chirikati was pretty chirpy with the awarding of that free kick, and the ref felt like he had to step in.
We're watching again on the big screen. That big moment in the first half when Nestoria and Kunda opened the scoring, and then Connor Metcalf's beautiful finish angled into the corner. 2 really top-class strikes worthy of winning a game at a World Cup finals, Andy. And Australia have stolen the ball. Oh, but Bayic, just as he was about to spring clear, is pulled back by the referee's whistle for a free kick to Turkey.
Yeah, I thought it probably was a free kick, denied, as is the great opportunity to break away.
Güler's delivery was a little flat once again. And Turkey looked to have run out of inspiration. There's no doubt that they've put plenty of perspiration into this performance. Vincenzo Montella, their coach. And the little aeroplane has been grounded so far this evening. And his team has been ground down by this very resilient Socceroos performance. They have almost played 4 minutes of stoppage time, but a goal here would make it a very nervy finish. Sutar sees that one away at the near post.
Hayden O'Neill's starting to struggle with cramp. You can understand it. He's put in some miles today for the Socceroos.
Another cross, another header clear by Sutar. All hands on deck for Australia. Lifted into the penalty area. Jason Geria, the latest clearing header, and then lashed towards goal by Kenan Yildiz. And another block. And out for a corner. Australia simply will not yield.
It's a great wall of Sutar.
What a performance this has been defensively. The corner taken quickly. Plenty of bodies in the box wearing red. What about the cross? Took a deflection. Another Turkey corner. Güler in a rush to take it. They know that time is of the essence now. The Crescent Stars appearing at their first World Cup since 2002, but looking likely to leave empty-handed from Vancouver. What a night for Australia this has been so far. Another corner seen out at the near post. Back with Çalhanoğlu at the top of the Australian penalty area. Yunus Akgun floats the ball in, and they stole a march on the Australian defence there, but now the flag goes up, and it would have been offside anyway. Harry Sutar, the Australian defenders, breathe a big sigh of relief, but they've done their jobs to perfection once again, Andy.
Well, Harry Sutar's performance as captain today is out of the Mile Jedinek mould. He has been superb. Clearly offside, but that ball came in. The Turkish defenders, Australia had to play on as though they didn't know, and saw away the trouble again. Important now to keep the ball.
How will this rank in terms of Australia's World Cup wins all time, Andy? It's only going to be their 5th ever win at the finals. We think of Serbia, that 2-1 win in 2010, the 3-1 win over Japan, the 1-0 win over Denmark and Tunisia at the last World Cup. What about this one?
Well, I think as an opening game, it's been a bit of a problem for us. I think they've been outstanding, really outstanding.
There are only seconds left. Surely it's too late for Turkey. Arda Güler once again being hassled and harried by Aziz Beyic, holding him at bay. And the full-time whistle blows in Vancouver. It's all over. What a night for the Socceroos, for only the 2nd time in their history. And for the first time since 2006, they win their opening game at a World Cup. 3 priceless points, which gives them a great chance of progress through Group D. Goals from Nestor Irankunda and Connor Metcalf, and a mighty, mighty defensive performance at the back from Messrs Sutar, Burgess and Chakati, along with the supporting cast. Patrick Beach was a surprise selection. He made 2 big saves tonight, but he keeps a clean sheet on his World Cup finals debut. And you have to say, Tony Popovic, you got it bang on tonight. Full-time scoreline at BC Place. Australia 2, Turkey 0. Well, Andy Harper, pick the bones out of that one.
It's just incredible. Well, my first reaction was to look at Arda Güler, the Turkish champion. As the ref blew full-time, he spat his dummy completely. It's going to take something for Turkey to regroup after this, because they weren't expecting it. They talked down the Socceroos the whole week. Their fans thought it was going to be a 3-0 cakewalk. And now it's men at work beaming through the stadium speakers, as it should be, because Australia were magnificent. Güler just made a complete beeline for the dressing rooms, didn't congratulate anyone, didn't say anything to anyone, except to turn back to his bench and say something, God knows what, but he wasn't a happy camper. For the Socceroos, it's all smiles. An amazing, amazing result. 2 great goals, not gimme goals, goals that had to be earned according to the game plan, and Australia were just fantastic. What a start to a World Cup it's given them. There's nobody at the tournament who's given Australia a chance, apart from us and the team, of getting out of the group. America's given them a roasting. Turkey didn't think they could do it, and now look at us.
Well, as the red seats empty, or those wearing red who were sat in those seats make their way to the exits, I'm looking out on a bank of green and gold away to my left and right. The land down under belting out around the stadium. We could be in Stuttgart in 2006, Andy Harper. What a night this has been for Tony Popovic. And that team selection that we all questioned at the start of the night, he knew what he was doing. He got it spot on. And for all the talk of Turkey, as you rightly alluded to, they have been put back in their box tonight. That was a fantastic performance. And all right, we didn't have a lot of the ball, Andy, and at times we had to defend in depth. But when we broke, we found quality when it absolutely mattered. And they were 2 brilliantly taken goals to win the 3 points.
Yeah, they were. Look, the defending was great. The application was great. The problem in possession from time to time is something that needs fixing, because we put too much pressure on ourselves by not being able to keep the ball. But just the mentality that started from Sutar and his twin towers next to him that went through the whole team. Aidan O'Neill, incredible. It was an amazing, amazing performance from the Socceroos, who got their World Cup campaign off to a flyer here in Vancouver. It's a fantastic stadium. Aussie rock is just being belted out through the speakers. There's not an Aussie who's not up and jumping. It does take you back to Stuttgart. All we're missing is Archie Thompson playing air guitar in the corner.
And we're just journalist Joey Lynch could just come and give us the double punch in the air. Everybody around this stadium wearing green and gold, up on their feet. Have a listen to this for a second or two. Well, the strains of Thunderstruck from AC/DC and Turkey certainly were tonight. They make their way over the Socceroos players to the end of the stadium, where the vast majority of the Australian supporter base, 10,000 of them inside tonight, and they made themselves heard tonight as well.
Brilliant. You know, we've been to a lot of these types of matches, and I've never heard the Aussies sing the pre-game song, which just happened to be Land Down Under, but with such volume. And now look at them go. What a moment for those fans who've crossed the planet to get here, to celebrate this moment, to share it with the team, to back them in. And don't you make any mistake, the players will have absorbed every bit of support that's coming their way. These are really unforgettable scenes here in the BC Stadium in Vancouver. And I'm just thinking immediately of a little personal battle. We went into breakfast at our hotel this morning, and a couple of Turkish fans in their red shirts looked at us, didn't say anything except, "You guys are hopeless, we're going to win 3-0. Simon, I can't wait for breakfast tomorrow morning.
Do you know what, Andy? I was about to bring up the very same point, and I know it sounds like we're gloating, but what the hell?
Exactly.
Australia have just won a game at the World Cup finals, a game that they weren't expected to win. And I've heard a lot of trash talk from not just the Turks, but the Americans as well. I don't know about Paraguay because I don't speak Spanish, but maybe they've even joined in as well. Australians are at their most dangerous when you write them off and say that they can't play or that they're rubbish. And I don't think they did their homework. You only had to listen to the pre-game interviews. They're strong on set pieces. They're physical. We're going to dominate. We've got quality. Well, you know what? Maybe one or two of the latter points, they're right. Individually, they've got better players. But as a team performance, that tonight is going to take some topping by any team at this performance. Australia were trashed by the world's press, and they've stuck two fingers up to them this evening.
And the big one to come, Seattle in a week against the US.
Are you watching America? Are you watching America? We are coming for you.
Look, we played them in the friendly, which we lost, but it was a close one. And a lot of dust-ups in that game, in particular with Nestor Irankunda. You'll recall them. And don't think for a second he won't have a target on his back. He was brilliant tonight for the goal he scored. Connor Metcalf. And I'm thinking back now to a few years ago, Simon, in the A-League. And listeners on SEN need to get yourself out and support this competition, which is breeding these World Cup finals matches winners. And I think back to a couple of years ago, in the centre of the Melbourne City midfield was Connor Metcalf and Aidan O'Neill, doing in the A-League what they did to Turkey on the World Cup stage here tonight. They were brilliant in combination. Aidan O'Neill won't get many plaudits, but he was brilliant. And Connor Metcalf's goal is now part of the pantheon. Scoring a goal in the World Cup finals from outside the penalty area on your left foot in a breakaway to secure a win against a team no one gave you a hope in Hades of doing.
I'm sure there are a lot of people in the good city of Newcastle who are celebrating that goal where Connor, of course, was born. And just looking at some of the face of the Australian fans, I'm not even sure some of them can believe what we've just witnessed, Andy. But, yeah, what a performance. We're just looking at the numbers on the screens on our monitor. Only 30% of the ball. Turkey had 30 attempts at goal, only 8 of those on target. Australia's XG, 0.75 as opposed to 1.72 for Turkey. Only 217 passes completed by Australia, 650 for Turkey. But I don't care which way you slice it, the numbers that matter are at the top of the screen. Australia 2, Turkey 0. Doesn't matter how much of the ball that you have, doesn't matter what quality you have, if you don't score, you can't win.
And you know, we talked about the pre-game trash talking of Australia. The nature of that win is actually going to fuel it more because, you know, the so-called neutral observers will be saying, oh, well, you know, if Turkey could finish, they would have won the game. And Australia just defend and they rode their luck on the counter-attack. And it's just going to feed that narrative, which is going to feed the energy of this team. Because concede the ball, don't give enough respect to possession at times, invite pressure, yes. You've still got to get past Harry Suter. You've still got to get past Cameron Burgess. You've still got to get past Alessandro Ciaccardi. And if you get past those three, you've got to get past Patrick Beach. And if you fall asleep for a second, the ball's going up to Toure, to Irankunda, or to Connor Metcalf, and you can be licking your wounds. So take Australia however you want, US. Take them however you want, Turkey. And if it gets to the third game, Paraguay, you can make your own observations as well. But we're coming for you.
Nestor Irankunda just being interviewed by television at the moment. He's got a big beaming smile on his face. Why wouldn't he? after that opening goal after 27 minutes. A brilliant finish from a brilliant pass from Paul Okon-Engster, who had a super debut tonight. We're going to finish off, Andy, by throwing it forward. Obviously, Paraguay on match day 3. Let's take the emotion out of the game against the United States just for a moment. I mean, they were pretty good in their opening game against the Paraguayans, winning by 4-1. They're at home, of course. They know how to play in Seattle, which is where the game will be played. What chance do Australia have in that game? And will the same approach as we saw tonight work, or does he have to go something different?
There'll be no ducks and drakes. It'll depend on how the players recover. There'll be no ducks and drakes. This is what we're about. If you're good enough to beat us. But the first half for America against Paraguay was fabulous. That was a really excellent first half, and I'm watching that thinking, oh my goodness, this is going to be difficult in Seattle. They weren't as good in the second half, and Paraguay defensively, when you look at the way the goals were scored, were very, very poor. Australia won't be that against the US. We will play the way we play. We've got to hold the ball better on occasion, and then the young fellas up front do your business. I mean, they're an even money chance. They need a point out of the last 2 games to go through. Realistically, 4 points, if you get a draw out of one of the last 2 matches, has to put you in one of the best third-place positions to get through to the knockout round of 32. They've done an amazing job for themselves tonight. It's been a long camp in preparation, a lot of talk about that as well. But honest to God, they were bloody fantastic today. And Tony Popovich, we dip our lid. You've done a great job.
Yeah. We're very, very proud of the Socceroos tonight. I think Tony Popovich is as well. He's just doing an interview and he looks a little red-eyed, maybe shed a tear or two of joy. Now they will go back and rest up, and they'll need the rest. It was a tough 90 minutes in pretty oppressive conditions here at BC Place, but they have got the job done, and they've got the 3 points. We're going to take our leave, Andy. Another 3 points against the Americans. We're going to have to look at extending our trip, aren't we?
Well, at least you'll have to stay in San Francisco.
Absolutely. But that's not the end of the football chat. After the break coming up, we've got the post-match show with Adam Peacock and Jordan Cornelis. They're going to be taking your calls. 1300 736 736 is the number. That's 1300 736 736. We want to get all our listeners' thoughts on tonight's performance by the Socceroos, and maybe 1 or 2 of your thoughts on those pesky Americans as well, ahead of the next game in Seattle. For the time being, from me, Simon Hill, and Andy Harper here in Vancouver, we're going to say goodnight to you. What a night for the Socceroos. Well done, boys. 3 huge points. Cheers, Harps. See you in Seattle.
The pleasure was all mine. We'll be sleepless till Seattle.
Sleepless till Seattle. 2-0 Australia winners over Turkey. Stay tuned for the post-game show. Bye for now.
SEN says yes to going out after the game with DD. Cheap trips so you can do more. When you buy certified Australian made, you're backing local businesses, jobs and our economy right here. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster.
When you're stuck in a long queue or sitting for a new hairdo, add some thrill to your wait with our $40 million jackpot every 3 minutes. Keno Go. Download now. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply. Gamble responsibly.
Look out for the sunrise. Enjoy local service. The best within a country mile.
Look out for Sunny to find your local Sunrise store. Whether you're craving a good cup of coffee, a sweet treat, or just a clean place to pee, they've got you covered. Just pop into your local servo with a smile, where happiness is served daily.
Look out for the sunrise. Enjoy local service. The best within a country mile.
Don't drive a ute that might handle it. Drive a truck that will. The Chevrolet Silverado 1500 end of financial year offer on now with 3 years free scheduled servicing. Limited time only. See a GM Specialty Vehicles dealer today. Ends June 30. T's and C's apply. Live big. Truck it.
No more leaks. No more trouble. Total Roof Restoration.
Roof looking worn? Give Total Roof Restoration a call. From roof repairs to full roof restorations, re-roofing with colour bond and tiles, guttering and downpipe replacements, our expert team delivers lasting quality. And right now, you can get 10% off all roof repairs. So call today for an obligation-free quote. Total Roof Restoration, where your roof's health is our priority. Visit totalroof.com.au.
Gear up for Australia's greatest sporting rivalry as Ampol State of Origin returns to Melbourne with Game 2 kicking off on Wednesday, Wednesday, June 17. Don't miss the intensity of Origin as it descends on the iconic MCG, where the Blues and Maroons battle in front of the Melbourne faithful. Whether you're a die-hard NRL fan or a footy first-timer, this is your chance to witness the rivalry live. Secure your tickets today at nrl.com/tickets. Ampol State of Origin. Nothing like it.
Brakes need some attention? Avoid paying dealership prices for the next brake replacement on your European vehicle. Cox Auto Service Centre is Melbourne's biggest brake centre and provide multiple options including ceramic brakes that come with a 50,000 kilometre or 3-year wear warranty. From BMW, Mercedes, Land Rover, Audi, Volkswagen, Porsche and all other European cars, South Melbourne based. Book your vehicle with Cox Auto for your next service and brake replacement. coxauto.com.au.
Ever feel like you're ready for more, but not sure what's next? Maybe you've outgrown your job, or you're ready for something that matters. At Victoria Police, get more out of your everyday. With hundreds of career options, who knows where the job could take you? Wherever you go, you'll be part of a community and team that has your back. Your life outside of work is supported too, with 9 weeks annual leave. If you're ready for more, search Police Careers. Victoria Police. Recruiting now. Authorised by the Victorian Government, Melbourne.
The NBA Finals are here.
Three-pointer. Puts it in.
Catch every game live on ESPN on Disney+. The Knicks.
This is the best Knicks team that I've seen.
The Spurs.
The cosmic grace.
One champion will rise.
It's Bedlam here at the Garden.
Who will make a name for themselves? Catch every game live on ESPN on Disney+.
Say yes to turning into a Socceroo girl at the pub. Say yes to going out after the game. Say yes, I'm Dee Dee. Woo! Woo!
When you're stuck in a long queue or sitting for a new hairdo, add some thrill to your wait with our $40 million jackpot every 3 minutes. Keno Go. Download now. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply. Gamble responsibly.
Keno Go's $40 million jackpot. Download the app. Sportsbet, the easiest way to bet on the cup. Imagine what you could be buying instead. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster. This is the Global Game.
And it was straight at Patrick Beach, and Socceroos fans breathe a big sigh of relief, and now they spring into the attack. It's Nestor Iraconda! He's done it! What a goal from one end of the pitch to the other! Nestor Iraconda, you star! The world knows what we've known for a long time now. And when the ball was launched over the top, Iraconda's pace and purpose took him clear of the defender. And his finish was clinical. And they've got to focus. Good clearing header by Sutar. Out it comes. Oh, that's a great hit. It's off the woodwork. Goodness me, Abdul Karim Bardakji. And the post is still reverberating, I think. Just to keep the Australians guessing. It is Arda Güler, and he got it through the wall. Good save by Beach. Still not completely clear for Australia. Yildiz couldn't get his shot away. Now playing his club football back in Japan for Albirex Niigata. And Australia, courtesy of an errant touch by a Turkish player on the attack here. It's Conor Metcalf! Oh my word! Oh my goodness! What a goal by Conor Metcalf! Something out of nothing from the edge of the penalty area. It is an arrow-like finish with the left peg, and he's now smothered by jubilant Australians. And why not? The Socceroos, hear this back in Australia, lead Turkey by 2-0.
Which is quite unbelievable, given the way the second half was unfolding.
Just wait a minute, Devon. Oh, and that shot by Aktürkoğlu. If it's either side of Patrick Beach, Turkey are on the board. Surely it's too late for Turkey. Arda Güler once again being hassled and harried by Aziz Bejic, holding him at bay. And the full-time whistle blows in Vancouver. It's all over. What a night for the Socceroos, for only the second time in their history. And for the first time since 2006, they win their opening game at a World Cup. 3 priceless points, which gives them a great chance of progress through Group D. That's how it sounded from BC Place in Vancouver. The Socceroos defeating Turkey 2-0 in the opening group game of this 2026 FIFA World Cup. What a result from the Australians, and puts them already in this group stage in a great position to go forward at this World Cup. Jordan Canellis with you in the Global Game post-game show. Our match wrap brought to you by Allianz Australia, official insurance partner of Football Australia, and Keno Go. Kick off soccer season with Keno Go's $40 million jackpot. Download the app for your chance to win. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026 official radio broadcaster. The goal scorers today: Nesteri Irankunda in the 27th minute opened Australia's account, and Connor Metcalf with a lovely strike from long range in the 75th minute. The lines are open, 1300 736 736 for the next hour or next 45 minutes or so to take your calls right across Australia on SEN. That's 1300 736 736. You can send us a text message as well on 0433 98 11 16. Live from BC Place, joining me for the post-game show, all thanks to Chemist Warehouse. Get discounted prescriptions and save more money at Chemist Warehouse, broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026 official radio broadcaster is Adam Peacock. Adam, what a result that was. Just debrief it all for me. Try and unravel everything that you've just seen over the last 2 hours. That was one of the great wins that the Socceroos have witnessed at the World Cup.
JK, I was lucky enough to be in Doha for the Denmark and Tunisia game, and that performance and that result and that everything was every part of what we saw in those two great wins in Doha, because it catapults us into the tournament for once. We've got something to hang off. After 2006, when we started so brilliantly, this was the difference, though. This was the opposite of that, by taking the lead and, for the most part of the first half, controlling the game without the ball. Second half, different equation. Yildiz comes on. They go to him a lot. Tony Popovic with his substitutes, and I don't know if you can give a manager a man of the match, but he's up there. He's in the voting because of, firstly, his choices of Ocon Exler and also Patrick Beach. That save that Simon mentioned there, it happened so quick that he said it came off the post in the highlights. He gets a touch on it. It is an extraordinary save, one of the best we've ever seen from an Australian at a World Cup. And then they control the ball. Not as well as they did in the first half. In the second half, but they put Guerrier on to handle Yildiz. He quietened down there, and in the end, that goal from Connor Metcalf proves the decisive moment. And what a night! And the Socceroos stragglers fans are just making their way out now, but the town, which is literally 500 metres behind BC Place here, is going to be absolutely pumping tonight here in Vancouver.
It is one of the few times in Australia's World Cup history, obviously a lot of it recent World Cup history, that the Socceroos have led the game and in parts controlled the game. Like, I know Turkey had a lot of possession and Australia was doing a lot of defending, but you're right, scoring early on and being in front for the majority of the game. We haven't really seen that from the Socceroos before. We've always been chasing games, coming from behind, or there was a couple of games in the 2010 World Cup where we were leading against Ghana and we had the win against Serbia, but we were chasing tail in that World Cup because of the Game 1 result against Germany. So this is one of the few times that we can actually sit here and savour the Aussies being in front in the game and now being in front in the early stages of the group stage.
And now's probably not the time to be really analytical. It's an emotional moment. I mean, Down Under, which played out through the stadium straight after full time, was just magnificent. That whole bay of Australians behind the left-hand goal. I don't know my directions here. I don't care. I don't want what north, west, south, east is, and I dare say a few Australians won't in about 6 hours' time here in Vancouver. But the way that just hummed around the stadium, and the Turkish fans were just stunned. And yeah, you look at the stats, and you know, one of these games that you look on one of those stat bots and go, oh well, Turkey dominated that game, Turkey dominated that game. Well, yes and no, because I would say Tony Popovic would be happy with about 60 to 65% of the work controlling the game without the ball. The old Mourinho expression, you controlled the opponent without the ball, and that's what they did for the most part. Sure, there were wobbles, and there's a lot of improvement to come. I dare say that the Americans will be a different proposition. They'll use their width a bit better than Turkey did. They were so narrow, and I mean, Harry Souttar, how many times did he clear on the edge of the 6-yard box, especially in the last 20 minutes? So that told you everything, that they just didn't have an idea of how to break down that gold wall.
Couple of your text messages coming through. Brett says, oh my goodness, was watching at the pub and it absolutely erupted. The security guards and the coppers were jumping and almost crowd surfing. I'm in tears.
Good.
One from Scott in Melbourne says, boys, I'm watching and I've watched, played and coached the game for a long time. That is one of the most disciplined, structured and brilliant performances I've ever seen. Well done, Popper, and what a coaching masterclass. And to the players who executed brilliantly. Come on, you Aussies. And his selection decisions, Adam, have been vindicated after that game.
Well, everyone, when the team sheet dropped an hour before, I was in the media area and it was just WTF Central. It was what on earth is going on here? Patrick Beach from Mount Druitt, if you don't mind. And what a performance from him. Everything he was asked to do was done perfectly. Yeah. Absolutely outstanding. And it was interesting in the first half. It was an obvious that they'd really done their details with Turkey. There was so much room behind the fullbacks. Turkey, I think they underestimated how much pace we had in wide areas, and Connor Metcalf, the job he did in the first 25 minutes was absolutely superb. Obviously the goal came down the left, but then Paul Okon-Engsler, and we were trying to work out why he's picked him instead of Jackson Irvine, and I think we found out. So you've got that dual pivot with Aidan O'Neill, who for me was near man of the match. I got Connor Metcalf on top. I know the TV and the stadium went for Nestor Irankunda, but Paul Okon-Engsler, that left foot as opposed to the right foot of Aidan O'Neill, just opens up the pitch, and they were playing down channels, and that's how the goal came. It was really well thought out, and it was a Popper masterclass.
As a first-generation Greek-Australian, boys, this is very special, says one off the text. And from Tambo in Melbourne, the goals were just great. Perfect for this social media era. They are great clips to raise awareness, which is a great point as well. And Adam, everyone now knows the name of Nestor Irankunda. It feels like it's been a secret that we've been trying to get out to the world. We've been talking about Nestor Irankunda and how he looks like to be the future star of Australian football. We've seen what he's done in the A-League. We all got excited when Bayern Munich took notice of him and brought him into their setup, and now what he's been doing at Watford. And now it's on the world stage. And I don't want to think too far ahead because we've got 2 more group games to come, but the World Cup's always a great arena to put yourself on the market. You know, it's a good little shopping window for clubs looking to make purchases. Now, I'm not going to say that's going to happen immediately for Irankunda, who's still very young and raw and still learning the caper, but this is a great stage for him to show Australia, firstly, the broader Australian sporting audience, but also the world what he's capable of.
Well, he's an X-Factor player. So X-Factor players do X-Factor things. And when he's in the right state of mind, when he's in the right environment, when he's got the confidence for everyone around him, and Nestor comes up with that X-Factor moment, nearly came up with another one as well, which on another day that goes in, and then he's the global superstar that we hope him to be one day with 2 goals in a opening World Cup game. But after that, and this is where the coaching comes in, and this will be interesting to see the progression of Nestor Irankunda. It was like the adrenaline hit him, and for the next 10 minutes he was struggling to get a foothold back into the game, and that's his next step. And he's got it in him. He's absolutely got it in him, but he's still a very young man. So to be able to do that, just superb. But again, I was sitting there, JK, and you know this as well. I'm sitting there watching this Turkey squad, half of whom, if they stay at their clubs next season, are playing Champions League football. And our boys, and remember that one that Jordan Boss ran down? He had no right to run it down in the first half. Like, you look at that and you go, well, if pace is king at the moment in football, which it is, my goodness, sign that guy up. But our players remain chronically undervalued. And I don't want to get into too big a picture here, but this is incumbent of everyone involved in Australian football to put the steps in place to make sure that when they hit the world market, when they hit the world stage, it's bang. Jordan Boss, he's a £15 million player. No, he's not. He's a £30 million player. Nestor Irankunda, he's a £50 million player. Why not? Big nations around the world do it, and once again, we've come up with a performance in a World Cup game with a lot on the line, like we did Denmark, and we show that the opponent perhaps didn't quite think through what we were capable of on the night, and we've come away with a huge 3 points to start this 2026 campaign.
All right, let's get your reaction. 1300 736 736. Give us a call. We've got the lines open. Jeff is with us in Adelaide. Jeff, what's your reaction from the Socceroos 2-0 win over Turkey?
Bear with me, but I'm an Aussie rules man. Soccer, I shouldn't say that. Football is the only sport, the Socceroos and the Matildas, that can combine all of us. Irankunda, what a story from Adelaide. But honestly, I sat here crying. The heart of Australia. We don't give up. We fight, we fight, we fight. They underestimate us. I just got to say one last thing. The Yanks have underestimated us. Just one more game, please, and who knows what can happen next. But as an Aussie rules man, as an Australian, football is everything. That's just my statement.
Jeff, thank you. Very well said. And yeah, Nesteri Irankunda's story is just one of many of the great stories within the Socceroos team, all coming from diverse backgrounds, some born and raised in Australia, some second generation, third generation Australians. In the case of Irankunda and Mo Toure and several others have been refugees who have come across to Australia to look for a better life with their families, and it represents the diversification of Australia's population, Adam.
Has done for a very long time. The great Mike Cockrell put it so beautifully a number of years ago. The Socceroos, and obviously the Matildas as well, they represent us. Who is us? It's people who are born in Australia and have got great-great-great-grandparents born in Australia. It is people who have come for opportunity in the 1950s, like a lot of the Mediterranean, like Greeks and from the Balkans and Italy, come for an opportunity of better at life. The African diaspora as well, who have escaped war-torn countries who can't get it together in a political sense and can't stop fighting with each other, so they have to get out for a better opportunity where they come, Australia, and then they just get woven into just this one beautiful sheet that we see out there representing us. And doing that on the world stage, it makes you even prouder.
0433 98 11 16 to send through your text messages. I can't wipe the smile off my face. I said to my partner, we'll defend strong and score to win 1-0. Never thought we'd put 2 on them. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. And great call. What a match from Simon Hill and Andy Harper on the call. Go Australia, listening in from New York at 2 a.m. Dave from Kew. Dave, let us know if you're going to get out to the New York, New Jersey Stadium during this World Cup. But yeah, incredible. It's not only Nesteri Irankunda, Adam. It's a lot of these other young generation. I think I, along with many people, have been have looked very hopefully into the future. It feels like there's a really strong, bright future coming for the Socceroos, for Australian football. It's sort of all come off the back of, it feels like it's, to me anyway, it's come off the back of COVID and what happened there in the A-League, and then the promotion of youth players in the A-League, giving them more minutes. And now we've got this young core of Chakati and Boss and Okon Engsler and Toure and Irankunda, and these guys are all 24, 23 years of age and younger. And this is going to be the generation for the Socceroos for the next decade.
Yeah, it will be. The balance of the squad, the age profile is fantastic. I mean, you wake up this morning, you don't know where these rumours are from. Lucas Harrington, Barcelona, Alessandro Ciccardi, Atletico Madrid. I mean, why not? Why not think that way? But you're having a look at this squad. And so Harry Suter, obviously Scottish-born and raised, but with Australian lineage. Ciccardi bailed out of Australia before he got a crack at A-League, was going to play A-League, but went anyway. And Burgess as well, didn't quite play A-League, but the rest of them have come through the A-League. And Tony Popovic didn't really mind the age profile of the player that he brought on. It was about doing a job. Matthew Leckie was about to come on a couple of times, I think, and then Popper changed his mind. Some real depth about it, a real lot of options, and that's the balance that Tony Popovic has gone. We didn't even need Christian Volpato tonight. I've got a feeling, though, Volpato, JK, he'll play a part against Paraguay. I've just got this feeling he'll play some kind of part against a team who might actually sit off us, especially if they've got something to gain out of that last game. But we'll wait and see. That's the beautiful thing. Tony Popovic, with his 26 players now, is now approaching the buffet, and he's got so many options. It's great.
1300 736 736 to jump on the line. The lines are open to have your say after the Socceroos open this 2026 FIFA World Cup campaign with a 2-0 win over Turkey with goals to Nesteri Irankunda and Connor Metcalf. Adam, what was the big moment of the match for you? The game-changing, game-turning moment of the game, all thanks to Liquorland. Game on, drinks sorted, legendary. Liquorland, broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster. Obviously, the early goal in the first half had a big moment, but there was still a lot of work to be done for the Socceroos thereafter.
Yeah, as good as the first goal was, and it should be played for all eternity as well, that from Connor Metcalf to just put that gap we needed, because let's be honest, Turkey were all over us for the first 20, 25 minutes of the second half, and it felt like it was going to go on all half, and it was like watching a game of half court, basically. They could have brought the crowd up to halfway and put the goalkeeper up there as well and just played the match in one half. But that drive from Connor Metcalf, who I must say, he was my man of the match, and there was nothing against anyone who performed for Australia tonight, but he was my man of the match because the amount of work he did defensively to cut off passing lanes, to just make Turkey spin out the other side and then have to start again. The ball got down the left a fair bit in both halves, but it would have been a lot more if Connor Metcalf wasn't doing his job defensively, and with the ball he was just so smart. And then at full time he collapsed. That he just expunged himself basically. But that goal, he deserves something like that. It was a little reminiscent, wasn't it, JK, of the Brett Holman goal against Serbia in 2010.
Yeah.
But this one, of course, had a lot more meaning.
The following games for Australia. So the United States is up next in Seattle. That'll be on Saturday morning, 5 a.m, so bright and early. It's the only early game we've got in our group stage. 5 a.m. Saturday, the 20th of June. So that's next weekend against the United States. And then following that, another 6 days on will be Paraguay, which is at midday Australian Eastern Time, Friday, the 26th of June. That's 2 weeks away. Pete from Paran is with us on the line. Pete, welcome into the Global Game post game. How are you feeling after the Socceroos 2-0 win?
Hi guys, how you doing?
Very good, thank you.
Bloody good.
Amazing. Thanks for taking the call. Yeah, amazing result. And I'll tell you what the massive difference. I've been around the block a few times and I've seen various Socceroos teams. And I'll tell you what's very impressive about not necessarily the team, but the way we played systematically this way around. Normally when defending, it's just we're disorganised, and it seems like we've just found ourselves in a situation we don't want to be in. This time, it seems like we have come from a dress rehearsal. We have trained specifically to deal with that situation. Every player knew exactly what he needed to do, and that's what we were able to cover. Double team or even triple team players as they came down left or right side. It was so well prepared a team to defend. That it wasn't at all boring, the fact that we played defence, because it was so organised. I don't know if you guys saw that or if it's just me, but I honestly feel that's the difference, where for once in our history, we're defending, but we're defending expecting it, or we're defending very well prepared to defend, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, a perfect point, Pete. I had that written down as well. We did a lot of defending, Adam, but we were composed the whole time. They executed the plan. Yes, there was going to be a couple of hairy moments here and there where Turkey really tested Australia. A couple of long-range shots, the one that hit the woodwork off the fingertips of Patrick Beach. A couple of times they got a little deep inside the 18-yard box, but Australia every time, Adam, were prepared for the moment.
Yeah, and that's where the three centre-backs come in as well, in the organisation of a Harry Suter. And thank goodness he dropped from the sky a couple of months ago and got himself fit again, because he's been, unfortunately, just riddled with injuries after a fantastic 2022 World Cup in Qatar. It did remind me a bit of the Denmark game in Doha, in the sense that Graham Arnold set up the side so well in those two games against Tunisia and Denmark to aim towards the result. Got the goal on that occasion, but this time he's right, the caller. It's like the organisation and the details, and we always hear Tony Popovic is so big on details, and I've had word out of the camp that guys who have been around numerous, like 4 or 5 World Cup cycles within the team, the backroom staff are just like, they just shake their head and go, this guy is so detailed. And that's the proof right there. We saw it over 100 stroke minutes here in Vancouver.
Keep your calls and texts coming through. You can give us a buzz, 1300 736 736. Stephen Point Cook will get to you very soon. We'll get to your text messages that are coming through as well. We're going to go to the break, though, and as we do, let's get the latest from Sportsbet.
Sportsbet, the easiest way to bet on the cup.
Chances are you're about to lose.
All right, Monday World Cup matches here at Sportsbet. The first game of the day, very early 3 a.m. start. Germany $1.04, Curacao $36 in that one. Probably the lowest price anyone's ever been in a World Cup match there. But let's get started on this Ivory Coast match. $3.30 Ivory Coast to draw, $2.80 Ecuador, $2.50. Been good money for Ecuador in this one. And a quick little Sportsbet's running a fantastic little promo throughout the first week of the World Cup, where if you back an anytime goal scorer in any same game multi and they have the first shot on target, you get that bet paid as that leg paid as a winner. So Jordi Caicedo for Ecuador in that one. He's $3 to be an anytime goal scorer. He takes the first shot. That's a green tick for you in your anytime same goal scorer, same game multi. Looking at the late game on Monday, Sweden hot favourites for that one against Tunisia. They're $1.90. The draw $3.40 in Tunisia $4.20. You reckon Tunisia might be a sneaky chance in that one? I don't mind Alexander Isak to score for the Swedes. Reckon he's a great one for that promo and the same game multis. Just quickly looking at futures as we wrap up this World Cup first few days. Been a bit of movement in the outright market. France actually been really well back. They're into favourites now. They're $5.50. The French. The Spaniards for some reason have drifted without even playing a game. England out to $9.50. Portugal $9.50 now. Argentina $10, and Brazil. Punters not happy with their performance today. They're out to $12 after probably being a bit lucky to get away with a draw against Morocco, who are $26. That's it for Sportsbet.
Sportsbet, the easiest way to bet on the Cup.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
Keno Go's $40 million jackpot. Download the app. Sportsbet, the easiest way to bet on the Cup. Imagine what you could be buying instead. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster.
Say yes to tackling a couple of soccerooners at your local after the match. You get it? Soccerooners, schooners. It sounds like schooners. Anyway, say yes to going out after the game. Say yes. IDD.
When you're stuck in a long queue or sitting for a new hairdo, add some thrill to your wait with our $40 million jackpot every 3 minutes. Keno Go. Download now. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply. Gamble responsibly.
Hi, it's Hamish McLaughlin. Toyota's Good for Footy raffle plays a vital role in the footy community, raising funds for local grassroots clubs all around Australia. And it's the local legends within those clubs that get the job done. Here's a local legend sharing their club's story.
Hi, it's Paul Constantino, co-captain of the under-14s at Noble Park Junior Football Club. Patterson Cheney Toyota has partnered with our club for over 20 years. With their support, the club is able to get new footballs and equipment for our teams each season. They help us enjoy the game of footy every week. So from all of us at Noble Park Junior Football Club, thanks Patterson Cheney Toyota for supporting us year in, year out.
Another great example of Toyota's support for community grassroots football. Now that's good for footy. Oh, what a feeling, Toyota.
To the doers, why do what you do? The doer who shows up when worn down, who stretches out when stretched thin, who breathes deep and does it all over again. Whatever your do is, and why ever you do it, by protecting what matters most, at AIA, we'll help you do it for life. AIA, health insurance, life insurance, financial advice. To learn more, search AIA Australia.
Flying to Adelaide for work, events, family, or a relaxing weekend away? Make the airport the easy part, because Melbourne Avalon Airport gives you a simpler way to travel. You'll enjoy easy access, easy parking, and less time getting through the airport. And when you pre-book your parking at Melbourne Avalon Airport, you'll skip the usual airport chaos and get moving sooner. For your next Adelaide trip, choose the airport that makes travel feel easier. Melbourne Avalon Airport. Flying made easy.
The school runs on, but the pantry is empty. Pick up and drop off in the one trip with Woolies. Groceries from app to boot in under 60 minutes? My kind of Woolies. See our website for availability, T's and C's and exclusions.
Ugh. When your internet gives you lemons, get Tangerine. Switch to Tangerine and get 10% off your monthly plan fee for every SIM-only mobile or mobile broadband plan you bundle with an active Tangerine NBN service.
Oh.
With easy setup, short hold times, no confusion, Tangerine offers great value internet with no lock-in contracts and high-speed plans available that keep up with your everyday. When your internet gives you lemons, get Tangerine. Visit tangerine.com.au to sign up today.
Getting some momentum starts with taking the first step. Like finally cleaning out your junk drawer. Then you're reorganising the whole kitchen. And then you may as well repaint the entire house. Next, you're hosting a renovation show on primetime TV. And Momentum Energy can help you take that first step with your energy. For a great plan or business energy solutions, talk to the company that helps you get some momentum. Momentum Energy.
You back the Aussies on the field. Early Pay back Australian businesses off the field with flexible and reliable working capital finance. In fact, it's what gets them out of bed in the morning. They'll back you with invoice finance and equipment finance created for flexibility and real business needs. Early Pay are proud to be backing Australian businesses with the cash flow they need to grow. Early Pay. Better business on your terms. Visit earlypay.com.au to learn more.
Keno Go's $40 million jackpot. Download the app. Sportsbet, the easiest way to bet on the cup. Imagine what you could be buying instead. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster. This is the Global Game.
And Australia, courtesy of an errant touch by a Turkish player on the attack here. It's Conor Metcalf! Oh my word! Oh my goodness! What a goal by Conor Metcalf! Something out of nothing from the edge of the penalty area. It is an arrow-like finish with the left peg, and he's now smothered by jubilant Australians. And why not? The Socceroos, hear this back in Australia, lead Turkey by 2-0.
That was Conor Metcalf's goal in the 75th minute for the Socceroos, who defeated Turkey 2-0 at BC Place in Vancouver. That was the goal of the match, all thanks to Valvoline, the original engine oil and official supporter of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Jordan Canellis and Adam Peacock with you. 0433 98 11 16 to send through your text messages. Brett says the way that Mo Toure puts fear into defenders is fantastic to see. He and Nestori are frightening. Joey in Ocean Grove says, I'm a proud Australian Croatian and I'm so happy for Popper. Love this country. And one more that says, wow, what a game. Thank you, SEN, for the coverage, watching the game and listening to the boys. Well, Simon Hill and Andy Harper will be back for the call of the Socceroos and the United States game next weekend and for the Socceroos Paraguay game the week after that as well. Adam Peacock is with us from BC Place in Vancouver. Adam, who'd you have as your best on?
Yeah, I had, as I mentioned before the break, Jake, I had Tony Popovich. He didn't put a foot wrong, seriously. No, but for the guys that just left it all out there, Conor Metcalf, I had him as 3 points for the reasons explained before the break. Aidan O'Neill, I did. That was my big worry, JK, before the game. Okay, we're going to play a 5-back, and then how far can the fullbacks get forward? Which means that the two in the middle just need to be so disciplined and so switched on. And Aidan O'Neill was there. And I've gone the one, Paul Okon-Engslaw, for the very same reason. Let's be honest, we played, I don't know what the possession stats were. I haven't got the screen in front of me, JK. You might have them there. But they switched them all up. They're about to switch the lights off on us here in Vancouver, but who cares? We'll stay here for the next 6 hours if we need to. But so if you're going to play without possession, your guys in the middle have just got to be so switched on. And they were. When in that first half, when Turkey were wobbling after we scored, Paul Okon just went front foot defending and chopped out about 3 or 4 out balls that Turkey were trying to play. It was such a magnificent World Cup debut from him. Nestori Irinkunda very close. Mo Toure was outstanding running channels. And look, Tim Ream is a fabulous player, 38 years of age. He's going to have his hands full with Mo Toure if he's going to run that channel, because that's the side that Tim Ream, the American veteran, plays. So that's something to look forward to. Although I will say Mo and also Jordan Boss went off with cramp, so hopefully they recover as well as they can. They got a bit of a break before that game, but yeah, those were my 3-2-1s.
72% possession for Turkey, 28 for the Socceroos, 30 shots to 9 in favour of Turkey, 52 touches in the box to 17, again in favour of Turkey, 635 passes going at a 90% accuracy for Turkey compared to Australia's 202. So they had 430 more passes than Australia. So all the stats went into Turkey's favour, but it's 2-0 to the Socceroos.
It's the old one. It's the old adage in all walks of life. It's not what you have. It's what you do with what you have.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm going to go into the night tonight here, Jordan, in Vancouver.
1300 736 736. Steve is with us from Point Cook. Good afternoon, Steve. How's the come down from the Socceroos 2-0 win for you?
It's pretty amazing, guys. I watched it at a Turkish Alevi community centre in Coburg. My girlfriend's Turkish, and it was pretty amazing to watch them sing the national anthem. And then as soon as the national anthem finished before the game, half the audience, all Turkish to the core, broke out in Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. It was just amazing. And as much as they wanted Turkey to win, they were so happy that Australia actually won. They were equal parts heartbroken and jubilant, and it was just amazing to see. And even after the game, they were absolutely shattered. But it cleared all the chairs in a heartbeat, started doing Turkish dancing, swinging the Socceroos scarf and the Turkish scarf. It was just amazing to see them be so humble in defeat and so gracious. It was really incredible and an amazing performance by Australia.
Can I just ask, sorry, JK, are you spending the night alone now then, if that's the situation with the girlfriend? Or
Yeah, we have gone our separate ways, but that was pre-planned.
Okay, fair enough.
It was just an incredible performance from Australia. It was really obvious to me. I'm an Aussie rules guy. I don't know soccer from my left hand from my right, but it was really obvious how fast we were at shutting down time. Whenever they had the ball, we were on them, and we were, the defence was pushing us one, and as soon as we got a chance to run and use our legs, speed up the flanks, we caused problems, and it was really obvious that we used our height and our speed and structure and discipline, and I just shocked that they didn't start swinging the ball around from one side to the other, but they just didn't. They just kept doing the same thing, and Australia were like, okay, we'll take it. But I don't know, that was just my ignorant analysis of the game, but what do you guys think?
Adam?
Can't disagree. It was obvious, yeah, that Tony Popovic likes these frontline players to stretch. But a number of times, though, when we just got the ball and didn't do anything with possession, just wanted to boot it, Popper was actually going off his brain underneath. You couldn't see it on the TV screens. He wanted to try and control the ball when we got the ball back, and we started to do it a bit more, and I'm pretty sure that was around the time that Connor Metcalf scored. So, it got a bit panicky at times, and I think that's a message he'll definitely drum into his side, that there's no real need to get panicky, especially when the game's getting a bit ragged.
Steve, thank you for your call. A pleasure having you on and sharing your thoughts. 1300 736 736 to give us a call, or on the text 0433 98 11 16 after Australia defeated Turkey 2-0 in this Group D opening clash for the Socceroos. A couple of text messages, two different text messages with the same sentiment. Chris says best on ground was Beach, the goalkeeper, and then another text from Anonymous says, let's give credit to our keeper, Patrick Beach. He did have the did you see that moment of the game, which we didn't know at the time, when he got a fingertip to that thunderbolt strike from long range, all thanks to Dee. SEN says yes to going out after the game with Dee. Cheap trips so you can do more. Dee, broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026 official radio broadcaster. Great fingertip save from Patrick Beach. What do you think was the reasoning behind picking Patrick Beach over the captain, Matt Ryan?
I haven't heard Tony Popovic explain himself, and he's probably doing that in the bowels right now to the press, so we'll find out in due course. But after that, I don't think he really needs to give a detailed reason. He just goes, well, this is what Patrick Beach has come up with in the game, and that's why I went with him. He doesn't need to go into the ins and outs. It's a massive call. And I felt for Matt Ryan, really felt for him. He had his child here as well, probably expected to walk out as the captain tonight. He did look a little shell-shocked, but credit to the guy, and the same guy that we saw when his number went up for the Andrew Redmayne substitution against Peru in the playoff to get into the 2022 World Cup. At halftime, he ran up to Pat Beach and pat him on the back. It wasn't long after that save that he got onto the post. So, ultimate team man. Jackson Irvine as well, who was left out of the side somewhat controversially. He was the ultimate team man as well. So really good signs in terms of unity for the Socceroos.
We have one more quick break to clear. Adam, stick around. We'll wrap up with a couple of more minutes on the other side of this. This is the Global Game post-match wrap, thanks to Allianz Australia, official insurance partner of Football Australia and broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster after the Socceroos in Vancouver defeated Turkey 2-0.
Keno Go's $40 million jackpot. Download the app. Sportsbet, the easiest way to bet on the cup. Imagine what you could be buying instead. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster.
When you're stuck in a long queue or sitting for a new hairdo, add some thrill to your wait with our $40 million jackpot every 3 minutes. Keno Go. Download now. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply. Gamble responsibly.
Say yes to proudly showing up for your country and then losing your dignity on the dance floor. It's the Australian way. Say yes to going out after the game. Say yes, I did.
At Choices Flooring, we know choosing the right floor or window furnishings can feel overwhelming. That's why for over 60 years, we've been more than just a retailer. We're your partner in making the right choice. From stunning carpets and sleek timber to stylish blinds and shutters, our friendly team combine personalised service with state-of-the-art technology to bring your vision to life. And we're here for you every step of the way. Visit choicesflooring.com or head to your local showroom. Choices Flooring, helping you make the right choice.
Dreaming of lower energy bills? Wake up to Crowds Electrical and Solar. The all-new Dyna Signy all-in-one battery and inverter solar system is here. It's sleek, safe, takes up bugger all space with the best monitoring app. Even better, Crowds can add the Dyna Signy to whatever compliant solar system you've already got, and they'll never stop caring about it. For 14 years, Krause has offered annual servicing, ongoing maintenance, and their own techs perform every installation, not subbies. Visit krauseelectrical.com.
REC 22623.
This end of financial year, expect more from Honda with great deals on selected 2025 Honda SUVs. Now's the time to upgrade your drive with confidence, style and smarter performance. With their premium engineering and exceptional value, the Honda SUVs are a standard that sits a cut above the rest. This is the end of financial year event, only from Honda. Only while stocks last. Terms and conditions apply. Visit your local Honda dealer or go to honda.com.au. Offer ends June 30.
It's here, OMF's biggest ever end of financial year sale with huge savings store-wide and millions of dollars of stock that must be cleared. Get up to 60% off selected modern, family and signature mattresses and up to 50% off sofas and recliners. Plus incredible deals across our entire bedroom and furniture range. These EOFY deals won't last. Shop now while stocks last. Don't delay. End soon at OMF, the home of mattress, bedroom, bedding and furniture.
Feeling like you deserve a tasty treat? Stop by your nearest Metro Petroleum and cool those taste buds with a Mr. Whippy ice cream cup. Try all the fun flavours for $3.50 each or 2 for $6. Limited time only deal. And, of course, to stay hydrated as you move through your day, pick up Metro Spring Water 600ml range, 2 for $2 or 4 for $3. Offers available June 1st to 30th at all participating Metro Petroleum locations. Metro Petroleum, more than just fuel.
At CommBank, we'll help you get your business in shape, no doubt. Whether you need capital, cash flow or payment solutions, talk to one of our local specialists today. Search CommBank Business. Eligibility criteria, T's and C's apply.
Robot Building Supplies is a family-run business and understands the value of being home with the family.
Robots got it.
That's why they have supplies to help you build a man cave, a kid's game room, a tool shed.
Robots got it.
Helping build family time and man caves since 1946.
Robots got it.
Robot Building Supplies. Notting Hill, Sunshine, Preston, Dramana, Pakenham, Coldstream and Darnham. We're robot, but we're human. robotbuildingsupplies.com.au.
ROBOT. Robot Building Supplies.
When you're stuck in a long queue or sitting for a new hairdo, add some thrill to your wait with our $40 million jackpot every 3 minutes. Keno Go. Download now. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply. Gamble responsibly.
Keno Go's $40 million jackpot. Download the app. Sportsbet, the easiest way to bet on the cup. Imagine what you could be buying instead. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster. This is the Global Game.
This is the Global Game post-match wrap thanks to Allianz Australia, official insurance partner of Football Australia, broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster. The Socceroos a 2-0 win over Turkey, and up next, it's the United States in about a week from now. Adam Peacock with us from Vancouver. It's the preparation starts right away for this United States clash.
Yeah, 7 minutes to midnight right here, and I think in about half an hour, 45 minutes, the Socceroos will all hop on a bus and go straight to the airport, charter flight back to their base in Oakland and bed down. They wanted to get back and just get to familiar surrounds, do the recovery there tomorrow. So no mucking around. It's going to be a long night, but one with smiles on their faces. And tomorrow I'll be on Sydney and Brisbane Arvos on SEN between 12 and 3. I'm not sure Origin's going to get much of a look in, unfortunately. It's going to be a fair amount of Socceroos chat on that particular show, JK.
Adam, fantastic. It's been a pleasure doing this post-game with you. Hopefully we get to do it again after getting a point or 3 points against the United States in a couple of days from now.
Oh, if that happens, I might not have a voice to do it, but I'll join you and I'll lap that up if there's 3 more points in that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Adam Peacock. On the post-game wrap with us live from BC Place in Vancouver. So the Socceroos next take on the United States on Saturday morning. It is a 5 a.m. kickoff. It's the only early one we've got. The one after that's at midday. So you got to get up early for the one game for the Socceroos. But a 2-0 win for Australia against Turkey with goals from Nestori Irankunda and Connor Metcalf, one in each half to get the Socceroos campaign underway. And with 3 points, and the way that this FIFA World Cup works with the third-place teams going through, this is a very good position the Socceroos are in to go to the knockout phase. Before we wrap up, let's get the latest markets from the tab.
The 3 most important dates to put in your diary are for the green and gold at your local tab. Get your team together to watch our team at Tab live and loud on the big screen with personalised venue mode offers for every game on the Tab app. One place for all the cup action. Now that's something to shout about.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
An odds update brought to you by Tab. Chances are you're about to lose.
We've got some fantastic fixtures of the World Cup coming up tomorrow. Germany are $1.04 against Curacao, and I think most expect it to go one direction and one direction only. Curacao, $34 the draw, $15 the 4-time champions you would expect should be winning. But you can bet on correct score, the likelihood of each or both teams to score, half-time, full-time scores, first-time goal scorer, any-time goal scorer, total corners. The list goes on. 300-plus markets available on each and every game across the World Cup. Now, Curacao, they are an intriguing story. They've never played against European countries prior to this year. They recently played out a 4-0 defeat to Scotland just before the tournament began. They won 7 of their 10 games in qualifying heading into the World Cup, and that's just one more than the World Cup qualifiers they've ever won between 2007 and 2022. 156,000 people, their total population. It is an amazing story, and they will be fighting and fighting hard, but you would imagine that's going to go the way of Germany. The Netherlands are even money against Japan at $3.60, a draw at $3.40, and Ecuador favoured against Cote d'Ivoire. Overall, and of course you can multi games into overall, but overall nothing has really changed. Spain and France are still the equal favourites there. In terms of the Golden Boot market, you can find that, as well as individual goal-scoring markets for each and every game. Kylian Mbappe, the French Capitan, still leading that market for the overall most goals for the tournament. Portugal have created a little bit of interest. There's been some support there at $8.50, and what an amazing story that would be. Of course, a couple of veterans potentially in their last World Cup for Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. We certainly think that's the case, but don't forget Brazil as well. They have won 5 of these, the last of which was back in 2002, though. So it's been, well, no one else would consider it a drought, but for Brazil, you could argue it has been. And they'll be looking to bounce back to claim their 6th World Cup success. England are the other one at single figures at around $9 and always quite popular with tab.com.au. If you are keen to follow Australia's journey, or any other country for that matter, every game through the World Cup will be available at tab.com.au. Enjoy the games. Hopefully you find yourself a winner. And don't forget, if you are keen on one, you can multi it into another. We'll see you ahead of tomorrow's games.
Brought to you by Tab, your destination for cup betting. Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
Avoid injury time heartbreak on the cup with Tab. Place a correct score bet, and if you're correct at the 90-minute mark, we'll pay you out as a winner. Paid out before any injury time goals? Now that's something to shout about. Offer applies to correct score markets and single or same-game multi-bets placed online. T's and C's apply.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
That's it for our wrap-up of the Socceroos 2-0 win against Turkey. But SEN are broadcasting a game a day all the way through this 2026 FIFA World Cup. Tomorrow, we'll have the Netherlands and Japan for you, which is billed as one of the biggest games of the group stage. Two teams ranked in the top 20 in the world. It's a 6 a.m. kickoff tomorrow. Brenton Speed and Archie Thompson on the call for you. And a match of the day every single day of this 2026 FIFA World Cup. Make sure you tune in for the next month of football right here on SEN.